Just a shot of tequila and a nice blunt.
Welcome to J is for Justice podcast. If live breaking news and following true crime is your thing, then please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you like what you see in my videos, please consider giving them a thumbs up. Hello, everybody. It is high noon here on the East Coast. Welcome to J is for Justice. If you haven't hit the like button, please consider hitting it now. And welcome into chat, you guys. Good to see the moderators. Flobo is here. We got the Vogue mod. Good to see Lori C. and the Sparky Pilot and Marcy. Did you guys have a good evening? Hi, Shortcake. Good to see you. It's Sophia. The one person, just as a reminder, we have a poll. The one person did it by mistake, she said. So the 2% is really supposed to be not there. Hi, Nick. Thank you. Good to see you, Auntie Cheryl. Sparky and Marcy and Nick Stan and Linda Kramer and Jason. Hi, Jason. Hi, Ski. Is Ski Utah in the house? I haven't seen Ski Utah. Hi, Colleen.
Ski Utah.
Hi, Flannel. Hi, Sailor. It's Crackerjacks. I wasn't going to out you, but you outed yourself. It's okay. It's okay. I think Karma will be catching up with Hooker as well. Hi, Steph. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. If you're out on the East Coast, Southern California, it's still early out there. It's only, 9 a.m.? Yes, we can. We can go to the liquor store. The liquor store is always open.
Zach, can you take me over to the liquor store and then take me to the Nazis?
It is hump day. Felicia Shields, good to see you, my love. I hope you guys are all having a good Wednesday. I'm a little on the tired side, but I'm waking up. Hey, Hexy. Flannel voted wrong, too. It's all good in the hood. We know what you mean. Hi, Penny. Good to see you. Oh, man. So there is just a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. I hope you guys are all hanging in there. Politically, there is a ton going on. I have some funny stuff to play at the end of the stream. I'm not going to bring political stuff into the beginning of this, but thank you, Felicia. Hey, Jackie. Good to see you. Hi, Maureen. Good morning. I know. I'm still kind of waking up. Jason says this podcast is a positive escape. Thank you. I appreciate that. There's Ski Utah. Yeah, there's a lot going on. Okay. So, but we're here. We're together. And we've got my second channel is where we talk about these things. So if you're not subscribed to Everyday with Jay, I'm going to throw it in the chat, the link. Go ahead and sub up over there. We talk more openly and more candidly, and we do space nerd stuff. We do reviews. We call out scammers and liars and stuff. We do all that. Hi, Fergie. Good morning. Hi, Ostrich. Ryan Thomas, it's good to see you as well. So, no, today is Wednesday. All day yesterday, I thought yesterday was Wednesday, but we made it Taco Tuesday last night. And hi, Kelly Mack. Good to see you. But today, we're going to be talking about Brian Hooker again. Yeah, tinfoil hat all the way on the other channel. Nick says, so much this week. Political shit. David in court today. Austin Drummond on Friday. I know there's a lot. There's Athena Strand is still going on. We've got ABC is now being probed into by the feds. I think Trump is like pulling his strong hand on ABC because of Jimmy Kimmel. We're going to watch a couple clips of Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel is completely under fire for free speech, for doing a roast of the dinner. So, ABC News, the station. Yes, the FCC won't let them be. So the FCC is now probing ABC like years before their licenses are supposed to be renewed and fucking with them. Oh, it's just crazy. Yeah, he is. He's weaponizing the Justice Department. It's crazy. Then we've got also the prior FBI Comey, the prior FBI director being indicted. And now tell me, I don't like him any more than the next guy. However, the social media post that they are indicting him on is a little crazy to me. Sally found seashells on the seashore. Comey for 8647, yes, and seashells on the beach. I thought Jimmy Kimmel was like their golden child. He's totally woke now. Sailor says they're searching on land now for Hooker. Yes, that was reported by Nancy Grace yesterday. And I guess it's kind of common sense. Nancy Grace didn't really have any proof that they're searching on land. Honestly, what Nancy Grace did was she took the fact that they said Lynette wasn't in the Acabo Sea, and she translated that to now they're searching on land, which would be the only other place they could be searching if they've already searched the Abaco Sea. You have a great time today, Auntie Cheryl. Hope you have a good day. Abaco. Vogue, abaco, abaco, tomato. But I mean, that's just kind of what I took from it. I was like, she really didn't have any proof or any video. Like, Ashley proved, what they were doing when they were doing it. And she's just like, she's not in the Abaco Sea. They said she's not. I'm not really digging Nancy's coverage on the Hooker case. I prefer Ashley 100%, like 10 toes down. Don't be nasty sometimes. I'm not being nasty.
Yo, Dad, can you take me over to the liquor store and then take me to the Nazis?
Don't be nasty sometimes.
Not being nasty. I'm just saying. Tomatoes, tomato. Yeah, Nancy Grace has been irritating me too. And not only that, she's showcasing this creator, Unmasked True Crime, who contacted Dateline and told them that I was a homophobe and a racist and got me booted from Dateline. So, Vanessa, you think you got your little cameo with Nancy Grace? You ain't fooling me, bitch. You ain't fooling me, bitch. Tried to push me off the fucking news to get your little self in there, little snake. And that's precisely why I'm not playing Nancy Grace's coverage, because the girl that she's showcasing is a liar. She's a sub buyer. She bought all her subs. Go look at her views. They're not consistent. I can't stand it. But yeah, that's what she did to me. She thought it was cool to contact Dateline and tell them that I was a racist and a homophobe. And they sent some Facebook Messenger things as proof. Yeah. Those are the kind of people that like try to push you out of the way to get where they want to go. Yeah, that's why I'm just like, ugh. Like, she can fuck directly off. She can really fuck directly off. I don't like her at all. Yeah, that's her. That's her. There's a whole history there. I won't bore you with it, but it is what it is. Ark, thank you so much for 7 months. Yeah, ride up, cowboy. Yeah, that's the same girl that's been on Nancy Grace the past couple times. Mm-hmm. Yep. It is what it is, though, She knows me. Yeah. I've had her on my show back in the Watts case. She wanted to be on my show, and she was trying to sub poach is what it was. And then later on, she went behind my back with her members only and laughed about me getting kicked off Dateline. There was a whole members only video about it. Yeah. So it is what it is, but you deserve the truth about the people that are out there. But anyways, Ashley Banfield is doing a wonderful, wonderful, and I can tell you the story on my other channel. I'm not going to incorporate this into Lynette's story. But I found it incredibly strange. She didn't source the sailing couple, but sourced that creator. Mm-hmm. Yep, and she doesn't even have the full video or full audio on her channel of that phone call. So weird. Scooter, thank you for 2 months. I appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Yeah, Nancy needs to do better. I mean, after Monkey Boy, yikes. But I did notice on the latest one with Nancy, you know how you can have like collaborators and it shows both your channels? Well, Nancy collaborated with her on this case, and I'm just like, what? Why? Why do you need this girl? She has no content. Thank you for dropping 5, Sophia. Kenzie, Co, Tammy, Jess, and go get your popcorn. Welcome to the Truth Seekers. Like, why does she need to, like, collab with her? It's so weird. I don't know. It's wild, it's wild. But anyways, Vanessa, enjoy your little 2 minutes of fame with your bot subs that your channel's not growing one bit because you suck. You're fake as fuck. There we go. Hey, Seabawing. Welcome in, new members. Enjoy your memberships. We're going to get into Brian Hooker now with Ashley. We got the latest and greatest. This is quite a full podcast we got here. We're going to get into Brian's past and what he did at AT&T to get fired. Ready? Let's get into it. And thank you guys. Please hit the like button.
Drop dead serious. Welcome to the Southern Depot. I'm at my mom's place in Florida. I'm recording this on Monday, April 27th. I got a lot to tell you, like so much. I am still following the Lynette Hooker story. I like to call it Lynette's story.
Hi, Tobeans.
Because Lynette is still missing. Brian Hooker has amscrayed from the Bahamas, where he said he would never leave her until he found her. He swears she bounced off the back of his dinghy in terrible seas.
The damn
Bullshit.
dinghy.
But, you know, one by one, we're able to tear his story
And she is not having it. Ashley's not giving up, Hooker.
apart. If you are just coming into this story, welcome. Hi. Please subscribe. It's nice to have you here. And then go back through my other episodes, because we have discovered a lot of stuff that does not add up. Every single day we find something new that basically flies in the face of Brian Hooker's story about how his wife disappeared in the Sea of Abaco off of Elbow Key in the Bahamas. I mean, I couldn't even in an hour list all of the things that don't make sense. But in this coming hour, you are about to hear some things about Brian Hooker. We're going to go back over some of the things in his story and some ways that we believe it would be possible, could be possible, to turn his live-aboard yacht called Soulmate into a ghost ship, which can't be seen, can't be tracked. We're going to talk about that in just about a minute. There's also a couple things I need to tell you about. If you've been following the story up till now, you might have heard the story of the blue dry bag. Basically, the rescuers who picked Brian up off of his marooned location on the shores of Marsh Harbor the morning after he drifted 9 hours after losing the wife off the back, the weird thing is that witnesses on the shore said he had a yellow dry bag that morning. Mm-hmm. But the rescuers who got him on board, like welcomed him onto the rescue boat to say, let's go look for your wife. One of them remembers an aqua-colored dry bag. One other rescuer remembers a royal blue, slightly bluish.
These damn dry bags in the damn dinghy.
Colored dry bag.
This is a great interview,
with the aqua. Another one can't remember the color of the dry bag at all, and another one remembers a yellow one. So there
think
is
you
a big
did,
mystery
Sophia.
when it comes to the dry bag. But we wondered if maybe a couple of dry bags might have been inside one another, maybe one in another or two in another one. And we found a blue dry bag on board the dinghy that we showed you a picture of in a prior episode, and thought, I wonder if this is the dry bag in question. I went back to the rescuer and I asked that very question, and he said to me, that's not it. Absolutely not. And he remembers the texture. It was like a more plasticky textured dry.
Yeah, this bag here kind of looks like one of those IKEA bags. You know what I mean? With the zipper. That looks like an IKEA bag. But then now she's saying, though, the guy's saying that's not the blue one.
Absolutely not. And he remembers the texture. It was like a more plasticky textured dry bag, not a loose sort of ski jacket material dry bag. So he has a good memory of that royal bluish dry bag. Still trying to piece together the story of the dry bag and how this fits in. And I think we'll get there at some point. But for now, it's just another piece of the puzzle floating out here till we find a spot where it fits. Also, you are about to learn a couple of things about technology. The amount of technology on board Brian Hooker's boat, with Lynette on board as well, and the kinds of things he was capable of doing with such technology. Because he swore up and down to his friend, who he could not stop
Cindy.
talking to after Lynette bounced off the back of the dinghy. Swore up and down he didn't even know how to load WhatsApp onto his phone. Guess what? Brian Hooker was a telephone repairman and installer at AT&T.
Unbelievable, man.
Yeah, that's just the least of the information that I found out about Brian Hooker's technical savvy. Wait for it, because Brian knew a whole lot about how to mask your position electronically. I'm going to get to that in just a moment, but it's going to fry your loaf. When I learned the things that Brian has done in his past to mask his
Gonna fry your
location
loaf.
and mask his position, I nearly lost the top of my head. But you're going to find out in just a moment. I'm getting there. Also, got some information about his oar pins. You know, he said, I was trying to row and one snapped off and I lost it.
Higgins did say that, didn't she? The tech on the boat, that he messed with it. Looks like that's probably true.
Yeah. I've been saying to you, I have not been able to find a receptacle anywhere in the pontoons of that little dinghy because I just couldn't see them in any of the social media. So I don't think he ever used used the oars as oars. I think he used them as maybe paddles at some point. But we have found them. Finally, the reason we couldn't see them is because they were covered up by those seat floaties. The same seat floaties, the green of which he threw to Lynette, he says, trying to rescue her, but I don't know if she ever got it.
So if you look here, I noticed that when this was probably February when Carly was visiting, right? And you see that handle on that green floaty thing is broken then too. So that wasn't newly broken.
The green of which he threw to Lynette, he says, trying to rescue her, but I don't know if she ever got it. It's not even a rescue thing. It's just a swimmy thing. You can flutterboard with it, but it's probably not going to keep you up. It's got some weight and girth and heft to it, so maybe he thought, in his story, this won't fly out in the wind like a life jacket would. Nevertheless, there were 2 life jackets in the bottom of the dinghy. And I've got news about those, too. More possibilities that show you are full of shit, because there might have been something on those life jackets that instantly could have attracted attention. Get into that in a moment. Before I go any further, I just want to mention that you guys have been amazing at bringing us tips and leads. And if you know anything about this case, about the lay of the land, if you have video or photos from April 4th, at any point looking off into the sunset off of Elbow Key towards Lubbers, you may have caught all the boats that are in anchorage in front of you, and there may be an incredible clue right there on your photographs. dropdeadseriousinfo@gmail.com.
People are sending her footage,
dropdeadseriousinfo@gmail.com.
you guys.
We will keep you anonymous. Gmail.com. Send to dropdead. You'll hear her, and she might be wandering in the background. It's different that they use. Well, there are 2 different ones. We have discovered 2 different engines. By the way, My mom is wandering, or you'll hear her, and she might be wandering in the background at some
Hi,
point.
Mary.
So
Good morning.
Never mind. Anyway, so there are two different engines on the back of the dinghy. One from several years ago that is sort of a lighter gray color, and then one that's more recent that's a black color. There's something important about that you're going to find out shortly. And I think it's really significant that you learn about the way sailors behave and the things that sailors keep, and why you can't be a hoarder as a sailor because you don't have enough space, but there are things that you definitely will hoard, and you will learn about that in just a moment. Then I also learned something more about the speed and capacity of that electric engine. Up until now, I've been telling you it's about 2 to 4 horsepower, right? Yes, but it can go 2 to 3 miles an hour, and you'll have a lot of run time. Way more than I said, around 4 hours. Oh, no. More like 30 hours if you're only going 2 to 4 miles an hour. If you're going 4 to 5 miles an hour, you can go up to 4 hours. There's that 4 hours that I thought about, but there's another speed you're going to hear, how fast you can go and how many hours of runtime you're going to have at that. It all matters because he says he floated for 9 hours, and I keep wondering what the hell were you doing in the 9 hours, because you didn't float to Marsh Harbor in 9 hours. It's impossible. The wind, the waves, the current, the tides, none of that would have been. You would have probably hit lubbers with the wind, and you sure as shit wouldn't have taken 9 hours to hit Marsh Harbor if, in fact, the wind was even blowing as hard as you said it was blowing. So wait until you hear about the specs on that engine. It's really important. By the way, remember that whole business about not knowing the tides that Brian said in his phone call?
I love this part because you guys, we talked about that too, how he was like, I don't know anything about the tides. And then he went on to tell his friend all about the tides. She's going to call him out on the carpet on his bullshit.
To his friend Blaine Stevenson. Remember, I don't know the tides and, the currents around here. And I said, horseshit, you sure did know the ebb tide, etc. in another message to the rescuers. Well, we found something else that Brian once wrote. And this is about sailing under a bridge. It's always very scary when you got a high mast and you need to sail under a bridge. You need to know. You need to know how high you are. You need to know the tides, or you're going to break your mast off going under a bridge. So here's Brian. Ready? Let's read along. We had to follow the outgoing tide going under 6 bridges that are nominally 65 feet above the high tide mark. Couple problems with this were a full moon the other night that made the tides very high, about an extra foot higher.
Douchebag.
Oh boy, you sure know the tides because you know what the moon does to the tides, bro. And
bro, you are so guilty. You are so guilty. Everything you've said, you have lied about. Name one thing he said that was true. And I think it's absolutely awesome that Ashley is so skilled and can do this. She knows all about this stuff.
And the bridges are not as high above high water as they say they are on the charts. And so some of these crossings under were within inches. And then a emoji. That's a guy who knows within inches.
Listen.
And then a emoji.
That was my favorite part. She's so funny.
Under were within inches. And then a emoji. That's a guy who knows tides and knows what the moon does to a tide and knows how important tide knowledge is when you have a mast going under 6 bridges. So once again, Brian, you're adorable with your, I don't really know the tides or the, currents.
I don't really know
around
anything.
Here. No, really? You've only been there 9 weeks. So yeah, in the most shallow part of the Bahamas, other than one other, location south of Nassau, the Sea of Abaco is one of the most shallow areas. And if you don't know the tides, you can't go in there. Not with a keel boat. Lynette even sent a picture looking up the mast saying too close for comfort. But now to the pièce de résistance. And that is that I am so incredibly thankful to an anonymous tipster who reached out to Lindsay and me with a story about Brian Hooker's past at AT&T. And we have now spoken to 2 different sources.
God, this is disturbing.
Who confirmed that Brian Hooker was released from his job at AT&T not once, not twice, 3 times. He fought like a tiger to get his job back the first time, and the
If
second
it looks
time.
like a duck and walks
the
like a
first
duck
time,
and
this is a
quacks
bit of
like
a
a duck,
rumor
it is a duck.
among employees, but not fully confirmed. There might have been a bar fight, and he got his job back. That he was released because.
Why does that sound just like Hooker? I don't even know this guy, and he's like textbook douchebag. A bar fight? Like, dude, how old are you? You got fired from your job because you got in a bar fight?
The first time, this is a bit of a rumor among employees, but not fully confirmed. There might have been a bar fight, and he got his job back. That he was released
loser.
because of possibly a bar fight. Got his job back. That's a possibility, allegation.
He probably came back to work drunk or something, dude. This guy is just an utter failure.
At least the lawyers.
Right. Is he 19 and in a fraternity?
Can't prove it, don't know it, but that was something that some of the employees were talking about. And the second time, I don't know what caused the release, but the third time and the final time, y'all. Groh was released from AT&T for tampering with the GPS on his van.
Oh,
trying to mask
Lord.
his.
Oh, Lord's masking his location from his bosses?
Jeepers.
Holy.
Bing bong.
Wow, dude. You're lucky you were in a union.
Y'all. Groh was released from AT&T for tampering with the GPS on his van, trying to mask his position, mask his location from management. Can we just all let that sink in for a hot effing minute? Brian Hooker is tech savvy enough to know how to F with the GPS on his van to make sure that management maybe didn't know exactly where he was at any given time.
You know where he probably was?
Well, now
He was probably at the fucking bar drinking. Don't you think?
Bing bong.
talking, aren't we? Here's a guy who. Well, now we're talking, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Here's a guy who can't load WhatsApp on his phone. That's what he was telling his friend. Horse shit. Not only could you load WhatsApp on your phone, you're a telephone repairman by trade and a telephone installer. So you know a thing or two about communications. And that isn't even the half of it.
That's not even the half of it, she says. She is on this guy's neck.
On prime crime.
Lynette even had a Facebook post about Brian geeking out right now because he's networking the boat. Brian knew a lot about technology. Brian got fired, got let go, got released from AT&T because of his ability.
Oh my God. Lindsay, what are you trying to do to us? What is Lindsay doing to us with these photos? We need to just call, we need to call James once and for all.
Ability to manipulate technology.
Look at him with his brewski. Almost every picture he's got a brewski. It's funny though, because I don't see Lynette drinking in every picture or video, but he is.
AT&T because of his ability to manipulate technology. Sources tell me there was a huge meeting among employees just 3 days after Lynette went missing, because Lynette worked there too, and by all accounts, she was really, really well liked. Super nice. Everybody said the same thing. They really liked Lynette. Brian, not so much. Mostly what I heard about him was that he was manipulative and kind of a dick. In that, as
She said it. She said he's kind of a dick. I could totally see it. How many of you guys have met someone similar to this asshole who gets fuzzy, who gets drunk and shows their ass? Right? We already heard that Lynette would be embarrassed because of the way he would act in public. Totally, we all have met someone like this, and we're like, God, that guy's just a dick, right? It's just your takeaway. He's just a dick. Hello, everybody coming in.
Everybody said the same thing. They really liked Lynette. Brian, not so much. Mostly what I heard about him was that he was manipulative and kind of a dick. In that, as a union steward, guy who kind of runs the union aspect of the complaints of any of the employees go through him to management, apparently he just could not want to fuck with management more. His whole mission was to make management like suffer, make it difficult for management. These are the reports that are coming from employees, right? That he just, anything, he would do anything to screw the man.
Yeah, he's just a pain in the ass. He's like a little baby. He's like those kids with the little hard white bottom shoes.
Little babies with them high top white shoes on, with the real hard bottom when they about.
Yeah, that's him. And he got his claws in her. She has paid his child support. She married him. She bailed him out of shit. Her poor daughter had to testify in 3rd grade because he couldn't keep his hands off his own daughter. I mean, let's be real here.
Screw management, even if it made it difficult for the guys and gals that he worked with.
He didn't give a fuck about anybody but himself.
Manipulative and mean.
Just
that's what
dick.
That's what the reports come back at. There was one time he met Lynette there. He met Lynette at AT&T. And there was one time in a room full of people where he just kind of blurted out, "I'm marrying the kid," referring to Lynette as the kid. She's only like 3 years younger than him, I think. So you can see kind of.
That's demeaning. I'm marrying the kid. What a fucking dick.
Kind of blurted out, "I'm marrying the kid," referring to Lynette as the kid. She's only like 3 years younger than him, I think. So you can see kind of I don't know, maybe he meant it cute and fun.
Yeah, it's real cute.
Maybe it was more like the kid, because, she's less than, or she's less than me anyway. She's less than most of us. She's the kid. But that's the report that came back to me. There's more.
Oh, God, there's more. I think she was so invested, But I'm also going to play something from Brian's friend after this, and you guys are going to love it. You're going to love it. Hey, Mary J. Blige. Betty.
One source who was very close to Lynette said to me that Lynette, in one of the episodes when she was leaving Brian Hooker, because this happened many times, friends, family have all said the same thing. She would leave him and allege abuse and had photographs of bruises and say, "I'm never going back," and then went back. One of these episodes when she left Brian, she confided in one of my sources at AT&T who said she was in tears. And she said that Brian had blown through his 401k.
Oh, my God.
And she just didn't know what to do.
Directly off.
So now we've got the potential, at least.
Okay, so this is huge. This is actually really huge. Okay. She found out he blew through his 401k. She probably had a small amount of hope that this loser who got fired several times from AT&T had a 401k. At least he's got a 401k. I can hear it almost in my mind. Well, at least he's got that, right? Then you find out, fuck, he doesn't even have that. He's going to completely live off me. Right. Danny says, and Lynette has upwards of $650K in her 401k. So he was fucked. Wow. This is disturbing.
And she said that Brian had blown through his 401k. And she just didn't know what to do.
Oh, my God.
So now we've got the potential, at least in that moment in time, and this is about 4 years ago, where one report from a source says he's blown through his 401k.
4 years
Lynette's
ago.
got a sizable 401k. Her mom said $650 or more $1,000. So I always follow the money. I always look at the money. I don't say it's always the bend all be all, but it's another piece.
Sure
of the puzzle,
is.
Right? Lynette's
She's
got a
so
sizable
smart.
401k.
Ashley is so smart, like overall. I'm really impressed. She has done amazing with Nancy Guthrie and this since she's left News Nation and done her own thing. Don't you guys think? I love her by herself. I hate the mainstream news anymore.
Sources who were close to Lynette, who said in tears, I've left him again. He's blown through his 401k. That's not good. It's not a good fact. In the business, we call them bad facts. But Brian's not charged with anything yet. He was released because they didn't have enough evidence at the time in the Bahamas to hold him any longer. But doesn't mean you don't get more as you keep looking into things. TikTok.
TikTok, Brian. Yep.
Looking into things.
Whoever's pushing those laughing emojis, this is all I got to say to you.
TikTok, Brian.
Ha, that's what I got to say to you, laughing. Keep them fingers moving. That just pushes this further out into the algorithm. Keep it going. Keep laughing. Keep laughing. Because it just pushes this out and they're just going to see more and more about Brian. The numbers are going up the more that you laugh. I fucking love it. YouTube's great.
Looking into things.
This is
TikTok.
for you, though. TikTok,
Brian. Anyway, so this is the significance. Brian. Anyway, so this is the significance of the background of Brian Hooker.
I love it.
Super smart with technology, super manipulative with technology. So I guess the question is, when you're telling your friends you don't know how to load WhatsApp on your phone, are you masking your actual abilities to mask your yacht? I'm going through a million different scenarios in my mind, right? I'm going through something that Blaine Stevenson, a very good friend of Lynette and Brian's, who is no longer much of a friend of Brian because of all the caca that he's been fed in this long voicemail that Brian let, well, long conversation that he recorded with Brian that doesn't add up. There is a period of time where Brian Hooker and Lynette Hooker's soulmate yacht went offline, okay? It stopped its connectivity with satellites. Now, yacht folk will tell you that can happen. Sometimes it's cloud covered, it's temporary. Sometimes there's a problem with the satellites and everybody's affected. That didn't seem to be the case here. But the times that Brian's and Lynette's satellite disconnected.
Brian,
I'm going to show
you're a
you the
dinghy.
actual ship tracking chart. And my guest Blaine is going to explain this in a moment.
We love Blaine.
Is right around 9:30 at night on Saturday night. 9:30 at night, Saturday night.
Okay, so let's talk about that. 9:30, hi Higgins. 9:30 at night on Saturday night. The satellite and the connection from the soulmate goes blank. Dude, you are so cooked. Like, he is so cooked. Once they put all these puzzle pieces together, he's fucked. No, he ain't in the Bahamas. He's in Michigan. He's in Michigan. Belly up at the bar. Drinking his cares away, I'm sure.
If you
Hi,
believe
Carrie.
Brian Hooker, he's already been floating for an hour and a half. He's already on the way to Marsh Harbor. Never made
Right, he's on his way in the 9-hour trip to Marsh Harbor, okay? But his satellite goes out at 9:30. I don't think Blaine turned on his buddy at all. I think Blaine is protecting Lynette, right? They were both his friend. And one did wrong and one didn't. Yep, he better enjoy belly up at that bar because it ain't going to happen much longer, I don't think.
it back to the yacht because my wife bounced out, took the key, and the oar broke and floated away. And what do you know? Couldn't find her. It was too dark and waves. The sea was angry, my friend. I'm floating off to Marsh Harbor. Somehow floating off to Marsh Harbor.
Hooker, you look like a fucking clown. Oh my God. She's so clowning on him right now. She knows he's full of shit.
Angry, my friend. I'm floating off to Marsh Harbor. Somehow, an hour and a half after that,
Hey, Micro.
Boat lost connectivity with satellites. How? Why? Sometimes boats run out of power and they just shut down. Okay, got it. But you're about to hear from my guest who says that was never the case with their yacht. It's never happened in the past, so why suddenly that night? Went offline at 9:30 at night, and it came back online.
Oh.
Want to take a guess? 8:30 in the morning.
Oh, my God.
You know what was happening at 8:30 in the morning?
When he got back to the boat with the cops. It came back on. That little fucker went in the boat with the cops and flicked it back on real quick. Oh, you are so busted. Listen,
Brian,
listen.
8:30 in the morning. You know what was happening at 8:30 in the morning? Brian Hooker had been welcomed onto the rescue vessel from his marooned location way over on Marsh Harbor, and they came back to his yacht. They brought him back to his yacht for the first time since catastrophic events the night before.
Yep.
He boarded that yacht with one police member from the Royal Bahamian Police Force, and the two of them went down below for an hour. He's picked up at Marsh Harbor at 7:30. It takes about 20 minutes or so to cross over to the boat. So now it's 7:50. They board till 8:50.
He is toast.
They're down below for an hour. Well, that would encompass the 8:30 switched back on.
Wow.
If that police officer's asking him questions and he says, oh, hold on a second, I just got to look over here and maybe get some lights and switch on the power. Boop, it's back on.
Remember, we heard from the guy she interviewed, the rescue guy, the volunteer. He said when he got on there, he messed around with something that looked like an air conditioner. Remember? And he flicked the shit on. Well, now we know it was the satellite signal from the boat. So the whole night from 9:30 p.m. to 8:30 a.m., there was no signal on that boat. So I think they definitely made it back to the big boat. Something happened on the big boat. Wow. So he turned off the satellite at 9:30. What did he do? What do you guys think he did? Did he take the big boat out into the rougher seas? What did he do? Let's listen to that part again.
So to cross over to the boat. So now it's 7:50. They board till 8:50. They're down below for an hour. Well, that would encompass the 8:30 switched back on.
Bust it.
If that police officer's asking him questions and he says, oh, hold on a second, I just got to look over here and maybe get some lights and switch on the power. Boop, it's back on.
Ashley. Higgins.
Just another piece of the puzzle, my friends. Just another piece of the puzzle.
Yep.
But a more skilled yachtsman than I, mariner than I, is about to explain all of this for you and make more sense of it than I can. But I am telling you, that is weird AF. Is it possible? And if so, how? Can you turn your yacht into a ghost ship, but keep your location for all eyes to see in one spot?
We're going to do another poll.
If you game this out, it is possible. And that's about to happen. Blaine Stevenson is about to explain to me, using a dinghy, could you scrape the electronic guts up out of the yacht, place them in the dinghy, anchor the dinghy, put some power on there.
The dinghy.
And go ship your way to do what you need to do, maybe in deeper water or just maybe with some power.
Get your votes in, guys.
You're going to hear all of that in just a moment. There's something else I want to show you.
Well, there's something I want to ask you. What is he holding up here? Has anyone ever examined this?
Or just maybe with
right
some
here.
Power.
He like waves low and then he picks up this bag.
You're going to hear all
See that? And he holds it up. Has anyone ever like
of that in
looked
just
at
a
that
moment.
to see what
There's
that was?
something else I want to show you. You're going to hear all of that in just a moment. There's something else I want to show you.
Someone would have seen their boat leave. That's true. He could have went right over to the shore where that where the floaty showed up.
TMZ obtained some video of a fellow sailor
Oh,
or
I forgot about this.
motorboat operator. I don't know what kind of vessel, this person was on, but he was wearing like glasses with cameras. And I don't know if they're Google or they're Meta, whatever they are, he was recording from his glasses. And he's calling over to Brian on Soulmate from his yacht, okay? And what stood out to me about this is this was recorded on Monday, April 6th. So it's only been, a day since all this happened, right?
So this is the day after Easter Sunday that this was recorded with Metas or something.
And so you would think you'd be a bit apoplectic that your wife is still maybe floating out there or marooned on a shore somewhere. And so this neighbor boat is speaking to Brian, and Brian is having a conversation about trying to bring up his anchor and move his boat on his own. It's usually a two-man job. Someone's got to be out at the windlass getting the anchor up while the captain is at the helm kind of backing up and getting off anchor. And it's super hard to do it on your own unless you've got your own electronic windlass switch at the helm, which they didn't have. And that's what Brian is kind of explaining to this other boater. But what I noticed was that the boater seemed more empathetic and upset about the loss of Lynette than Brian even mentioned. It was almost like business as usual. I got to move this boat. Take a look.
The fire department's bringing when we lost Lynette over the side, I paddled over to Marsh Island and I landed on some crazy shore there and we couldn't get it yesterday. The fire department's bringing the digging to me. So this afternoon at high tide, or this morning later at high tide, then I'm gonna go to Marsh Harbor. Okay. Are you guys gonna be around at all?
Yeah, we'll be around if you need anything.
I'm gonna ask the guys, but I might need one person to help me unanchor. I've never done it by myself. I don't have any switches. I talk to you.
Okay.
But yeah.
Look how nonchalant he was. The day after. Do we need our bullshit button for Hooker? Bullshit alert. He's like, oh, nonchalant. Like I lost my floaty. No, you lost your wife, dude.
Talk to me.
Okay.
But yeah.
What time do you think you're going to do that?
And they be here around 11 or around high tide.
Okay.
I'm going to have to get into Marsh Harbor because what was happening, late day, and then I'm just going to come back and keep looking. I don't know how long the reason is.
Wow, so sorry. But we'll come help you here around noontime if that's okay.
You're here and just keep an eye on me and then maybe step on if they're here.
Sure.
But if I'm not here, my apologies. I just had to go. I got to get out, and I can't leave here without a foot of water under me.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Oh.
Okay.
So he couldn't leave at that point because he didn't have enough water under him? Is that what he said? But if I'm not here, my apologies. I can't leave here without a foot of water under me.
I just had to go. I got to get out, and I can't leave here without a foot of water under me.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
Oh, my thanks to TMZ for that. That's just, I don't know. To me, it's really telling that the guy with the camera glasses is like, sorry, man. And Brian's just like, yeah, the wife fell overboard and I need to move this boat and I'm only a one-man show.
Oh my God. Let's go back and watch it with captions because I didn't catch all of it. Okay, here we go. Captions are on, guys.
The fire department's bringing when we lost Lynette over the side, I paddled over to Marsh Island.
We lost Lynette over the side. Who's we? You got a fucking mouse in your pocket? We lost Lynette over the side. I paddled over to Marsh Island. Just another day in boating.
When we lost Lynette over the side, I paddled over to Marsh Island, and I landed on some crazy shore there, and we couldn't get it yesterday. The fire department's bringing the digging to me. So this afternoon at high tide, or this morning later at high tide, then I'm going to go to Marsh Harbor.
Okay.
Are you guys going to be around at all?
Yeah, we'll be around if you need anything.
I'm going to ask the guys, but I might need one person to help me on anchor. I've never done it by myself. I don't have any switches to talk to.
Okay.
But yeah.
What time do you think you're going to do that?
And they be here around 11 or around high tide.
Okay.
I'm going to have to get into Marsh Harbor because what was helping, late thing, and then I'm just going to come back and keep looking. I don't know how long the reason is.
Wow, so sorry. But we'll come help you here around noontime if that's okay.
You're here and just keep an eye on me, and then maybe step on if they're here.
Sure.
But if I'm not here, my apologies. I just had to go. I got to get out, and I can't leave here without a foot of water under me.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
Oh, my thanks to TMZ for that. That's just, I don't know. To me, it's really telling that the guy with the camera glasses is like, sorry, man. And Brian's just like, yeah, the wife fell overboard and I need to move this boat. And I'm only a one-man show here. It's like, it's only this is Monday.
Wow.
Lynette went out Saturday night and Brian floated all day Sunday morning, all night, and was marooned. And then they're looking all day Sunday. And this is just Monday.
Yeah, it's like day 2 of searching.
So I don't know. Everybody grieves differently, but you're not even grieving at that point. You're still in panic mode trying to find your wife. There's so many things that should have happened.
Yeah,
so many things.
It's so obvious.
Because the amount of equipment that Brian Hooker has on board and the knowledge that Brian has of the equipment that he had in his hand, his own phone, it don't add up. So with all of that in mind, I had such an insightful conversation with Blaine Stevenson. Blaine, as you may know, if you've been following the story up till now, Blaine and his wife Marnie are also cruisers, liveaboards. They have been on their boat for years. They haven't even tied up to a dock in 2 years. Currently, they're sailing down in St. Martin, and they are struggling with this because they are friends with Lynette and Brian. Brian actually called Blaine and just sort of dumped out 40 minutes of information, which they were recording because they couldn't keep up writing it down fast enough. But then ultimately, during this long verbal logorrhea, they started to realize what the actual F is going on right now. Nothing sounds right. So Blaine's recording has been the source of so much information for us and for police as well. And he's also a skilled mariner, being a liveaboard. And so I have bounced off so many.
I really like Blaine. Blaine has been such a good friend to Lynette. Like, hats off to Blaine, right? For standing up, doing the right thing, and being a good friend to Lynette when she needed one. Because if people didn't come together for Lynette right now, he may get away with that shit. Think about it.
Possibilities, questions, theories, ideas, everything off Blaine. And so with a bunch of the information that I had amassed up until now, I called Blaine. I said, you need to help me sort through some of these things, specifically the ghost ship possibilities. Because talking it out with Blaine, it is entirely possible. Here's my conversation with Blaine Stevenson from aboard his yacht as he's at anchor off St. Martin. Quick note from my sponsor. I may not personally.
We're just going to skip the little sponsorship. Okay, here we go.
You know,
here's Blaine.
.com/DDS. Blaine, how long do you know Lynette and Brian had planned to be in the Bahamas, and when did they get there?
I know they got there about 9 weeks ago. I remember the Facebook post of them crossing. They did a immigration check-in, and I made fun of Brian for cutting his hair and looking good for immigration. So I know it's been about 9 weeks.
Any idea what their plan was? Was it a short stop, a long stop? What did they want to do there?
They're like most of us boaters, where the plans are written in tide, written in the sand at low tide. They talked about heading down to Beckway and down to the southern islands where we are. And I feel like that was kind of most of the conversation that I followed on Facebook with them. I believe in our messages, there was the idea of hooking up down island. And then I feel like in the last few weeks, it kind of shifted more towards they were heading back to Florida.
But they had like a cruiser's permit, right? Like, explain what that is.
So when you check into the Bahamas, and that's been a really big point of contention for like this last year, Bahamas changed the policies and rules, and they had a 1-year cruiser permit for their boat. But they have a 90-day visa for the person. So like when we check into a country, we have to check our boat in separately than we do ourselves. And at any time, any one of these countries can say the boat's allowed or you're allowed, but it's a separate check-in process. But their boat was checked in on a 1-year cruiser visa into the Bahamas.
1 year.
And they had indicated in Facebook, if I remember correctly, that they were thinking about 90 days and even sad that was too short.
Right, but they had the cruiser permit for a year.
Okay. So there was a Facebook post that somebody else made, and I only can assume that it's a friend of Lynette's because she was kind of commenting back and forth, and it's her Facebook page. But it was just...
This is really creepy. Personally, I thought one of you would have murdered off the other one by now. Yet, you honestly look very happy together out there. And there's 3 laughing faces.
Disturbing. I mean, it sort of, I'll just paraphrase it. It said, I thought you would have murdered each other off by now, but you both look happy.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the situation now, it's like, holy, I'm expecting to see that person on a podcast or news at some point soon, right? Like, because that was a pretty damning statement. But also, I mean, it's social media. We all make jokes, but I don't think anybody would make that joke about me and my wife.
Right.
I mean, everybody has.
Right. That's obviously someone who knows the history. It's very, very fucking disturbing.
Has their quirks, right? People are going to assume I'm going to fall off the boat because I'm clumsy. But they're not going to assume me and my wife are going to get into a fight. So right. I think that just shows a little bit more of the history that we were a little blind to.
There's also some talk on Facebook about the kind of technology that this couple had on board. I'll just list off a few things that I've been able to pick up from all of their social media posts. They talk about having a drone on board, and that's going to matter when I ask you about what you can do with a drone in an emergency in a moment. They had a 360 camera that Lynette regularly used. You hold it out and it sort of disappears the selfie pole that you're holding, so it just looks like the camera's above you. They had an underwater camera. I think it was the same 360 camera that might have actually gone underwater. They could shoot themselves out of the water and then down under the water, all in the same shot. And Lynette was very social media savvy and good at editing, great at posting. This was not a couple that didn't get tech.
Right. So out here, I mean, we make a joke with me and...
Ew, did you see Brian?
Tech.
Right. So out here, I mean...
Probably wasted, passed out. Look at how burnt his legs are.
I mean, we make a joke with me and my wife that we're right in the middle cusp. We're not part of the Young Cruisers Association because we're late 40s, but we're not part of the paper chart boomer generation either, right? That is mad that everybody's out here on social media. They were more tech savvy than we are. They were on the socials before we were. Brian wired up his own solar system himself.
Look at him. Look, I'm so proud of myself. My little 2-inch peen. My little tiny peen. Ugh. He is just disgusting.
I think one of the pictures that you keep seeing in all the news reels is him putting 2 PVC pipes together, but that was the structure system for his side solar panels. He had that, I think it's a Garmin smartwatch. Like, you can look at their navionics, their tablets, they had all the equipment. They had more equipment than we have.
I'll tell you what, I've kind of knocked him a couple of times for the comment that I believe he made to you in the big, long, rambling, I think 40-minute message that he was, or at least phone call that he made to you, where he said something along the lines of, and I'll paraphrase, I don't know the tides or the currents around here. I mean, look, you are a live-aboard sailor. You don't sail a keelboat in the Sea of Abaco, which is 4, 5, 8 feet deep, when you're drawing somewhere around 4 feet without knowing the tides and knowing the currents. Am I right?
No, you're not going in there and not knowing it. You might be there for a few days and lose track of it. I will say that, right? Like if I've been here for 2 weeks, I know that I'm good at high and low tide regardless. So I'm not looking at the tide today. I'm not knowing what the tide is today. But he was moving in and out of that area that same day. He moved from Tahiti Beach to his anchorage where he was that same day.
Or I don't know if he actually went all the way down to Tahiti Beach with the big boat. I know he said he went down with the small boat, but I do know he was further north at the Firefly Inn and picked up anchor at 11:30 in the morning, and about 20 minutes later was setting anchor not even a quarter of a mile south down the beach outside the Abaco Inn, at which point you can go even further south and go to Tahiti Beach by the little dinghy, and then come all the way back and go with the dinghy to the Abaco Inn. So yeah, I mean, he was traversing, the western shore.
That little half mile to 1 mile section. Yep. Yeah. And the thing that, caught me and we talked about is at roughly 9 or 10 that morning, the guy who recorded him for TMZ, he's telling that guy he needs help raising his anchor because he needs a foot of water underneath his boat. So he's waiting for high tide. That is 10 hours before he talks to me and doesn't know what tides are. And then an hour after talking to me, he messages search and rescue and suddenly knows about the ebb and the flow and Matlow's K and Montage K and all that.
He
so
knows
all
everything
in one day,
suddenly.
he did know tides and currents in a 12-hour time.
Because he's a liar.
I love the part where he knows ebb tide, and it already said, I don't get these tide things. It just didn't make any sense.
Well, again, like I said at the time, when we were recording it, we were there to help a friend, but you can't listen to that recording after 3 weeks of searching for Lynette and not understand that somebody was practicing their story on you, right? Like, I feel like I was being used on that aspect. Maybe not to record it and put it out, but I think he was definitely practicing his story and see what would fly.
Wow, he's totally got his number.
Well, what seems strange to me, and I've been in this business a few times, so it's not my first rodeo with crime. And if there is a crime here, which that hasn't been established yet, however, there is a criminal investigation. That was verbal logorrhea, if I ever heard it. Most people who are looking for their wife don't just talk for 40 minutes straight about all the things to do with them. They don't have time for that. And to that effect, I want to ask you about the drones. Brian has a drone.
Yeah.
Aren't drones about the best thing that you can tell searchers? I've got a drone. Let's get it up there and search the shores.
Oh, especially if you look at the timeline of events, right? So he was out with search and rescue in the morning. And then search and rescue took him back to his boat, but he still didn't have his dinghy. So he's stuck on that boat.
His dinghy.
For Sunday night and Monday morning.
Okay, so when he talked to that person on those glasses was Monday morning, he had been stuck on the big boat without the dinghy. The dinghy wasn't brought to him till Monday.
Until they brought him back his dinghy, helped him lift his anchor, and he went to Marsh Harbor. How many flights did he do? Right? I mean, I would have had that. If I'm stuck on the boat, I would have got on the cruiser's net and gotten everybody. I can't say there's a single thing he's done since the incident that I would have done. But if he had a drone, he's a super tech savvy guy.
Right.
I mean, you fly it. You're looking. And I don't know that he didn't, but he doesn't tell anybody he did either.
Did you get out the drone,
Well,
Brian?
I can tell you this. That was not ever a part of the immediate search and rescue, because I have spoken to both of the guys who spent time with Brian Hooker on the morning of his catastrophe, and never once did he bring the drone off of Soulmate onto the search and rescue boat and say, let's fly this. Let's go over to where this happened and start flying it. I'll take you guys. Let's fly my drone and look around. He never mentioned the drone. He didn't pick the drone up off the boat at 8:30 in the morning and bring it onto the rescue boat and say, let's launch this. It never came up.
Well, and there was a part of me that, as you were saying that, I'm like, well, you know, if it's really windy, you don't want to fly a drone. But I'm also replaying that interview of the guy who came up and talked to him the next morning. You could hear each other clearly. There was no wind. His boat wasn't being drifted. There was glass. So he could have been flying it then. But he also didn't need to spend an hour on the phone with me. I mean, yes, we're friends. Yes, we boated together. But you can't, for me, when I found out, like, he left Carly a voicemail and then spent 45 minutes on the phone with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was uncomfortable.
Exactly. That's a huge bing bong right there. He won't even talk to Carly on the phone. He leaves her a voicemail, but he sat on the phone for 45 minutes with him, practicing his story.
Bing bang.
Carly was uncomfortable about the tone of the way she put it as, well, your mom fell in the water. I'll talk to you later. There wasn't a lot of empathy or panic or fear or worry or concern or consoling. There was, in Carly's estimation, there was next to none of that.
Right. And I don't understand the timing of it all. Like, he obviously had his phone.
Yep.
He says in his recording he has his phone with me, but I mean, I think we're at that point with Brian now where we just dismiss what he says. But we know he had his phone to call Carly, to call me, to be on Facebook Messenger, to message Dan, right? Like, he had this technology available to him. Why was he not using it to get voters together in the area, right?
How about this? I was just going to say about the technology and his phone before we move on from that. He is a tech-savvy guy, okay? We've already established he worked for AT&T. He was a phone installer and a phone repairman. He wired his own boat. He was extremely savvy when it came to the boat. There's that message that you found from Lynette saying, hey, Brian's busy
networking,
geeking out and networking the boat. You know, like he knows the business of phones, right? And yet he's floating across to Marsh Harbor for 9 hours with a cell phone in his hand that says on the top, for emergency calls only when you don't have a SIM, all you need to do is hit hello, and maybe it'll cost you more because you've got the American plan, or maybe you'll just get the emergency call you can make even if you don't have a SIM card. That's the kind of guy who would know that.
Well, and I was talking to somebody from Cricket Mobile because I don't want to speak to things I don't know, but evidently you can still dial Cricket Mobile to spend money. Right? If you want to.
I just saw Ashley's mom. She's so sweet looking. Did you guys see her? Watch her. She walks behind Ashley with her wine and a book.
Evidently, you can still dial Cricket Mobile to spend money. Right? If you want to upgrade your plan, that call is going to go through on a roaming network to get a hold of Cricket Mobile to upgrade your plan to you. The idea of an 8-hour shift, and again, if he did make these calls and he did try anything, he hasn't brought that up, and I think that would be something that you could easily go to. It's not going to ruin an investigation to say, hey, here's my call log. Look, I tried to call emergency. I know that doesn't show up in your call log, but look, I tried making these phone calls. I tried calling Lynette. It's not.
Can you also show me a picture of your phone that has no SIM card and it says up top for emergency calls only?
Yeah, I did until I broke it. Now I'm using that phone, and I called my carrier, and I'm like, hey, I have this phone that doesn't work from another carrier. I just dumped my phone in the water. Can you turn my SIM into an eSIM and put it on this phone? And it was done in an hour. Now, did I lose all my apps and everything? And I have no clue of previous conversations and all of the stuff.
Well, I mean, fairly, I'm asking that because he blew through his 401k. So that's usually like there's a reason. Drugs, gambling, or buying things like a midlife crisis, like buying a convertible like nanos.
Connectivity.
But
You had connectivity with them. Yeah.
Within an hour.
It's something that a man who works in the business of phones would know if I were a betting man.
Yeah, I mean, especially a guy who, I mean, it's public knowledge. If you look up AT&T versus Brian Hooker, you will see that, among other things, he was terminated for disabling GPS devices in his truck. I don't know how to do that. You know, he knows how to work his AIS. He knows how to work his radar. He knows, you know, he knows more about the electronic side to sailing than I do. I mean, he taught me about that part of it. You know, he taught me to trust my equipment. I do still got to credit him to this day for getting me through a hurricane with his knowledge. So, yeah, I would say he's very tech savvy.
Hi, Mindy.
Well, let's talk about that issue about being fired from.
Mindy, I saw the TikTok of you and Christina, which was adorable. I'm so glad you guys got to meet. That's really cool. I hope you're doing well. Happy hump day. Oh, God, I know I can't stand Brian Hooker. You are so going down, Hooker.
AT&T, or released from AT&T for manipulating the GPS unit on one of the fleet vans that he worked with. That's somebody who was trying to hide his position. That's someone who knew how to manipulate a GPS device to hide his position. If you adopt that into this story, this becomes very disconcerting about what happened between the last photo we've seen of him, which is 7 p.m., possibly heading down to the dock to leave in the dinghy with Lynette, and then suddenly
9:30.
9 to 10 hours later, washing up on Marsh Harbor with.
But let's talk about that. He says they left at 7. We see him walking to the dinghy by himself at like 7. Right? And then we know that the satellite on the big boat turns off at 9:30. So there's literally, from the time we see Brian by himself, 2.5 hours time. That is, yes, Sophia, that's her. That's Binder Mindy. We love Binder Mindy. Binder Mindy, are you going to CrimeCon? She is cool. And you guys dress so cute. You're like fashionistas. Kelly Fitzgerald says, Jay, I think he might have spent a lot of his 401k, but has cash stashed. I still think he planned for this for years. Living the dream on a boat until he doesn't need to anymore. Wow. You could be right, Kelly. You really could.
With this preposterous story, let's talk about how one might have perhaps made it to the yacht with his wife.
There we
Tied
go.
up the dinghy, gone aboard, something goes sideways. This
Yes.
is all supposition.
This is what I think happened, though. I think they got back to the big boat and something happened. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't know that this happened, but if it did, could you, Blaine, could you make your yacht go into a ghost ship and keep the AIS location in that dinghy anchored to that spot while you beat a path to do something nefarious with your big boat to deeper water?
Your AIS data would require a 12. I would have to know his model number, okay? But AIS data, and if his is connected through what's called NEMA, right? If it's part of his whole network system on his boat, how it receives its power. If it's I'd have to know if it's Raymarine or Garmin or whatnot. But basically, in a sense, our boats are just 12-volt systems. Some are 24-volt systems, but everything plugs in. I do believe that there would be a logged event of the Starlink being unplugged to be plugged in on the boat, on a dinghy or whatnot, or there'd be an event of it going offline, like your AIS. It would show offline. as far as everything else that you have, that's just systematically going through and turning off your electronics. I can make my boat go ghost mode, yes. To answer your question, I could. There would be logs of it. You know, my Starlink will tell me if I had a millisecond outage.
Yes, it does.
5 minutes ago. It'll tell me that on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
So if I disconnect it for 5 minutes to set it up somewhere, that's going to be a little blip. Somebody's got to look for it. You know, when we look at his AIS data, it shows that he never moved. But if you actually go into the logs on My Ship Tracker, you can see that like his AIS was offline from 9:30. I think it was 11. I don't have it in front of me.
9:30 at night. So Saturday night, 9:30 p.m. Suddenly, his goes offline, not to come back online until 8:30 the next morning, which is right around the time that the search and rescue boat sidled up next to Soulmate, tied up, and he boarded his yacht for the first time since the catastrophe. So it just something kind of stinks in Denmark there.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, yeah, that's obviously what I hooked up on, is because then I went back through the logs because
crime exploration. That's a wonderful point. I'd be interested to see what the tides were that night when he went offline. If it was high tide, he was the fuck out of there to dump her. That is a great question. I don't know if we even know that, do we?
I don't know what his normal routine is. Do they turn their AIS off at night to save power? But then I went back through his logs of the previous month, and it had never been offline for for more than 2 to 2.5 hours.
Blaine, they're not supposed to be on board at 9:30 at night. At 9:30 at night, he's already an hour and a half drifting over to Marsh Harbor, never having reached Soulmate. So what happened at 9:30 at night on board that boat when nobody was supposed to be on board for it to go offline, but suddenly come back online when he boards his boat with the search and rescue folks the next day?
Well, that's what I was thinking about when I said that, do they normally turn it off to save power? I'm not... So then I started looking at, it's been on at nights. So it's not that his battery bank can't handle his AIS staying on all night, right? So it's not, you don't see the routine pattern of it being turned off every night, which means they leave it on every night, which means that his battery system can handle that load overnight.
It's not going to go off on its own.
Okay, so I have for April the 5th. Is that the day we're looking at? The 5th? The first high tide on April 5th was 11:06 a.m. The second high tide was 11:23 p.m. Low tide was at 5:12 a.m. and 5:04 p.m. I think it was the 5th, right? Unless I have the wrong freaking ass date. Hold on. Yeah, it was the 5th. It was the 5th. Or wait. The 4th. Let me look at the 4th. It was Saturday the 4th. Okay, so on Saturday the 4th, let's see. I can't get detailed ones. Okay, Marsh Harbor. Let's see. It's not giving me that day now. That's weird. I'll keep looking. We'll keep listening. I'll keep looking.
It's not going to go off on its own. Now, as far as how the satellite systems work to the AIS, the Coast Guard's going to know way more about that than me. But looking at his log, there is definitely on that night a clear, distinct difference from any other night in his AIS history.
Well, I can't put two and two together because I don't have that kind of tech knowledge. I have some mariner skills, but not this many mariner skills. I can't understand how suddenly at 9:30 at night, when any other night the boat can handle that power and it wouldn't just shut off on its own, how did that boat shut down at 9:30 at night when he's supposed to be, floating past lubbers at that point, maybe setting off a flare at that point. It's all very curious.
flares
And I think one by
over
one,
lubbers.
the pieces are coming into focus of how preposterous his story is, Blaine.
There's complete groups out there. I mean, we ran into a group on TikTok that actually is the one that found some of this information, right? Like, there are people that are metadata diving way beyond my tech level skills. Some were up in Brian's level of tech, right? Because, I mean, this is a guy who has an electric dinghy motor. He's gone through a couple.
Okay, according to this, it says on April 4th, 2026, the high tides at Marsh Harbor, Abaco Island, Bahamas, occurred roughly 1 a.m. to 2:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then again at 1:30 to 3 Eastern Standard Time. That was on the 4th. High tides at 1 in the morning and then again at 1 in the afternoon. Now that would be after midnight, though. That night from 9:30 on would be the 4th and then into the 5th. So if we go to the 4th, high tide, it says was 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. and again in the afternoon around 1:30 to 2:30. So the low tide was, let's see, 4:29 p.m. was the second low tide on April the 4th. So they left the bar after the low tide, and then the second high tide was at 10:46 p.m. Why am I on Saturday night? There you go, bing bong. Second high tide was it only took me a few minutes. But listen, second high tide, 10:46 p.m. His satellite shut off at 9:30. Kind of like Koberger leaving his house, turning off his phone, and then turning it back on after the crimes. Yep. That's what I think. 10:46 was the second high tide on April 4th, Saturday night. Wow. You're seeing 10:39? I got 10:30, 10:46. Pretty close. I think he took off in that boat as well.
Of them. Like, so everything about him is wanting to be technology based. He's not your average 59-year-old who's like, give me a 2-stroke. They don't sell those in America anymore. Where's my sextant kind of guy? He is, smartwatch, control my boat with my watch kind of person. And so it's really hard when you live that kind of life to not leave that exhaust, I think is the word you use. For us, I'm not a tech savvy person and I would screw it up if I tried to go ghost, but there's also a lot less on my boat. And the battery logs for me, if I was the investigator, we all manage our battery systems out here down to the hour to know what we're consuming. Can I make water? Can I do a load of dishes? Can I turn on hot water? We have to watch our power systems and what's draining and what's drawing, and that's all logged. And it would be very interesting to see, and what scares me is it'd be interesting to see what his battery system did that night. Was it a slow trickle down, like there was nobody on the boat until the sun came up and the solar started raising it back up again? Or are there power events? Did somebody come onto the boat, have a shower, turned on the water pump? You would see that spike in power. Interesting. Did they come in, turn on the lights, stuff like that?
Okay, so they'd be able to tell if there was activity on the big boat by the power usage. Like he just said, the spikes in the power. So they would know what was going on, like if they turned on lights, if they took a shower, if they used, certain things, if they played music, they're using the power on the boat.
You can't
turn on the water or have a shower, any of that, right?
Right.
Because normally, if I ever got back up on a sailboat after being out all day or even going into shore and back with the spray or whatever, I'd probably rinse off on the back of the sailboat, because there's usually like a little, shower nozzle on the back of the transom, or I'd get up and maybe get into one of the little bathrooms, and I would take one of the small showers, a quick one, because you really conserve the water, but quick one doesn't matter. It registers.
Yeah, and we set up our boats to where we don't have to do it like you do on charter, right? So when we come back from a night out or being on the beach or whatnot, I mean, we literally walk through the boat, flip on the anchor light if we didn't turn it on before we left, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then turn on the water heater for both sides, because like me and my wife both use separate sides of the boat for our bathrooms. So we turn on the water heater for both sides, so we have hot water. Put the dinghy up, right? For ours, it's a winch that would log it. I think his was hand. But he would plug in his dinghy motor. That would suddenly start draining power. You would see an event on his power log.
Mm-hmm. I love this.
Keep plugging the dinghy motor. You're right. Again, this is all if they made it back to Soulmate.
If they made it back to Soulmate, there would be
none of that business. Right. None of that business happened with her bouncing out in 2 to 4 foot seas. It's all bullshit. That didn't happen.
Right. I mean, literally, they could prove his story as a lie just by simply showing the power was used, because he said they didn't make it back to Soulmate.
The weather wasn't like that. So if he did make it back to Soulmate with her, there would be power events in the normal course of boarding your boat and doing the things you normally do.
Right. Yeah, totally. I mean, I could tell you when we boarded our boat last. It's so definitive. Because we have to.
I thought he did move Soulmate to another location as well, Elizabeth. And I don't remember now where it was from and to. And now I'm confused about it.
I mean, we run out of power. I mean, I have the same bragging right me and Brian do. We have not been to a dock the same amount of time. Right?
2 years.
He has not been to a dock since he's seen me out. We've only been to a dock once since we've seen him. And that was to take a generator off our boat and throw it on a dock and then leave.
Dude, I don't know how you did that. All I keep thinking is, where can I get to a dock to get another tank full of fresh water? And you're somehow not having to do that.
Well, that's partially out of fear, because, the only thing that's going to hurt a boat is land. So the more you avoid it, the better. But that also goes to show, like, if he was to have, I've seen a lot of speculation online that he moved Soulmate in the middle of the night.
Oh.
And
there we go.
I'm following that theory to a degree in my head and working through it, but there's no way he's...
Wow. He moved Soulmate in the middle of the night.
And I'm following that theory to a degree in my head and...
He went from a Baco to the Conch Inn? Okay.
Working through it, but there's no way he's navigating those waterways without a breadcrumb trail on some digital device. Because he's going to need to navigate.
Unless he knows his way. I navigate at night every night that I'm on the water from memory. Never do I use electronics, ever. Now, that's a lake that I'm very familiar with, but they had been there for 9 weeks. And
they had been there
Sea of Abaco was small. And even the way out is not huge. And that, listen, I got to ask you, though, about moving the yacht, because it's a 46-foot catch. So what does it draw, 4 or 5 feet?
I think it's a sloop, but I just have to be a boater on that one. Single-masted, so...
I'd heard that it was a catch, but
gotcha.
I'm only going on what I'd heard. Okay, and so, but what do you think? Draws about 4 or 5 feet?
I think 6.
6 is a lot in the Sea of Abaco.
Yeah, it's a Hunter 450 passage, so I could tell you what the draft is right now.
Okay, so he would have to be very knowledgeable about where to go, because there's lots of 5-foot areas.
Yes.
And you can't fight Mother Nature underneath you. If you're banging up against that, you're going to tip over. If you hit your keel on land, you're going to tip over and need rescue. Some people, really struggle with that.
The Bahamas is the land of the bommies.
What's that?
The little rocks underneath. They're marked on the charts. Like, even if the average depth somewhere is 6.7 or 4.5, there's a rock or a coral head that is marked on the charts. We call them bommies, but
bommies.
Yeah,
I call them reefs, but okay. So listen, if he had wanted to turn that boat into a ghost boat, my question for you is this, because I don't know how this could happen, but I know it could in my gut. Is there a way to strip the electronic guts, the finder guts, out of the yacht and say, put them in the dinghy and anchor the dinghy right down beside where you are.
Dinghy.
And say, hook it up to a 12-volt battery so that those guts keep going, but in the dinghy, and then pull your anchor up and turn into a ghost ship and go do your business in the dark of night for, 9 hours. Then come back, pick the guts back up, all the electronic guts that send your pinging location out, as though you have never left that spot. Your location has been pinging from that spot, just from the bowels of the dinghy instead of the bowels of your boat. Is that doable?
I can.
Oh, Lindsay. Hey, Linz. Soulmate was moved on April 3rd from Firefly Anchorage to Aunt Pat's Bay. I think on Monday, late afternoon, or Tuesday. The Soulmate moved to Conch Inn Marina near Marsh Harbor, according to AIS. Okay, so after he talked to the guy on the glasses, he was like, I can't leave unless I've got, enough water under me, meaning it was too low of tide. And then he ended up moving it late afternoon on Monday or Tuesday to the Conch Inn Marina near Marsh Harbor. Wow. Thank you for that, Lindsay.
Speak to Starlink if he had a mini, yes. Completely
Jerry?
easy. If he had his anchor alarm as a tablet, which I think they use a pink tablet for their anchor alarm, then yeah, you would just put that in the dinghy. It wouldn't go off. It would show that they were there the whole time. The AIS data would have to go offline.
Yeah, so I wonder if anybody ended up helping him. If those people in the glasses ended up helping him.
But it did.
Okay, but you're asking me in a hypothetical situation, can you make the boat go dark? And I'm going through each system. If it's Starlink Mini that runs off 12 volt, or even if his Starlink is the Gen 2 and he has the adapter for it, he could easily plug that up to 12 volt. So his Starlink would show at the same spot. His anchor alarm would show at the same spot. Everything else on the boat would all be personal handheld electronics. So if he put all those in the dinghy, then yes, the only thing I can't speak to is the IS, but the IS during that period of time was offline as far as I can see.
Yeah, as far as you and I can see, because we're mere mortals, but I always assume that the power of the United States government is much better than what we have. I think they've got technology that supersedes what we're able to dig out as sleuthers at this point. I hope so anyway, because it just feels like.
So you don't think he really needed help? He was just trying to see if they were maybe going to be around? I don't know, just the way he creepily said, we lost Lynette over the edge last night. Like, it was nothing.
That's something that could be done, especially by someone who was let go because
Oh, that's right. He was looking for help and they gave him a contact number to get help. Thank you, Lindsay. I keep forgetting all this stuff.
He was manipulating his location and masking his location on his van with GPS. That speaks to somebody who has the tendency and the know-how to do such a thing.
In the speculation.
And the other thing about the glasses recording, did the person record because they thought he was sus? Or were they already recording on their glasses? I wonder.
Situation, I mean, he would know more than me. Right? Like, he would be the subject matter expert that we would be asking this question to if he wasn't the subject of the investigation. And that's the crux of it for me. He knows more about it than I do, but I could see from our systems on our boat how we would do it.
Let me move on to this other topic. And by the way, I keep looking
Leo.
behind you because I feel like, is that Martinique behind you? Like, what's your stern looking out back? I can see some twinkly lights behind you.
Oh, it's St. Martin. That is Sandy Ground, St. Martin. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, to be you right now.
Right.
I know. We're going to be in Anguilla and St. Bart's and then Martinique in the next month. So
take me with you.
Come on down.
Okay. Well, don't tempt me. Okay. The next issue I want to get to with you, I have been trying to assess the ore situation. And you were kind enough to send me the manufacturer's look at the exact dinghy that they bought. And you were kind enough to point out to me that those oars and their pins are proprietary to that boat, meaning you can't just grab any old oar and use it in that boat. You got to use those pins in those receivers, right? Those receptacle holes. Yep. And I could not find anywhere where I saw the receivers for those oars because I was looking in the center of the boat because they're not in. Thank you. Explain the oars situation on their dinghy.
Okay, so the Boss 8.5 dinghy is designed to where the oar locks are back.
I think he might have bought that yellow dry bag, Elizabeth, when he said he went out on Easter and he was like, it's a fucking holiday and there's no fucking stores open for me to get a SIM card. I think he went to like a gift shop or something and bought that yellow one. It's just a thought. I know. Awesome's not here. It's weird. I was waiting for him. Awesome, are you listening? Or Dockside Printing? I would love to know if you guys are going to print those flyers. Even though Dockside Printing, he said, equals meth. Remember? He said that.
Back by the engines. If you look at a picture, which I'm sure you'll throw up on a graphic here, there are two little metal silver pieces on each pontoon back about a foot. There are two little by the engines. If you look at a picture, which I'm sure you'll throw up on a graphic here.
Lindsay, he set the stage for you. He's funny.
Locks are back by the engines. If you look at a picture, which I'm sure you'll throw up on a graphic here, there are two little metal silver pieces on each pontoon back about a foot from the end of the dinghy. On the back.
Really
side,
far back, by the way. For oar pins, they're really far back.
And then, so you would put those pins in there, and you would sit on the bench, and you would row it backwards, right? So the front of the boat, the pointy part of the boat, is behind you, and you would row like that. And the problem I had, and the reason why I started researching this, is because Brian is a very good painter. He painted this picture for me of him trying to row the boat, but then the oar snapped. I can picture that in my head, right? As sailors, we can all picture that. Until you look at his dinghy. And then I'm like, I don't see where the receptors are.
Ashley, we don't want to look at his dinghy. And we definitely don't want to know if he has receptors in his dinghy. Ashley, get your mind out of the gutter, girl.
Jeepers.
Watch her face.
Picture that in my head, right? As sailors, we can all picture that.
She's like, yeah. She's like, yeah, we could picture it.
You look at his dinghy. And then I'm like, I don't see where the receptors are. Well, because they're covered up by the cushions that they're always sitting on. So then I went to the manufacturer, I found it. Then I went through some old pictures of their boat, and I could see that they do have the pinholes, but they don't have the bench anymore. They took that bench out right off the bat. So then I'm trying to figure out, it's still like, okay, he's telling me the story of how he tried to put the oars into the pin locks and broke one. But how is he rowing it without a bench, without anywhere to sit? And then I started thinking about it too, like, if you're looking for somebody in the water, man overboard drills, which are beat into all of us as boaters, you never take your eye off the person, right? So at no point would you want to be rowing backwards towards the person you can't see and back. Like, that whole concept then struck me as, your boat's not designed for it. You're covered the holes that it would go into. Better. The amount of time it would take for you to get set up to row to break that pin, you would have found your 2 life jackets and your anchor in that amount of time. On accident, just moving everything out of the way so that you could do that setup, that picture you painted for me.
Teeny little dinghy.
Right? To break that pin in the hole, as he described, he'd have to be sitting on the bench trying to row, but there is no bench. So
I've said you'd have to be on your knees, but that damn anchor is in the way. So that damn anchor that you're trying to move in order to row would be in your mind to throw overboard.
Hey, Doc.
Right. Everything that, all the other safety, and every time I see the bottom of their dinghy, there's just there's stuff. I mean, we all are that way. I think I got 2 bags of trash in the back of my dinghy right now. But you're not
If
going
it
to
looks like a duck and walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it is a duck.
This is the best part.
Don't turn your back to your wife, put oars in and try and kneel like that when you could just kneel over the front and do a back and forth like you would a stand-up paddleboard.
We talk about also what's behind them when you're driving. You hold onto a throttle of a little engine. We've seen a lot of social media, but you pointed out to me there are two different electric engines that the hookers have used on the back of their dinghy. And
Correct.
That would mean there's probably a spare on board because, as you have aptly noted, sailors don't just throw that stuff out. That's critical stuff. It might be down in the engine room. There should be a second engine on board.
Yeah, so I don't know the...
Flo, thank you for the $5 super chat. She said I put the stats of the sailboat in our Discord. It's good information. Thank you, Flobo, our little researcher.
History of the engine. And I actually found this by accident in arguing in your comment section. Back at the very beginning when everybody was trying to argue about the key and, you know, you could pull a key out on an outboard and run. And I was trying to explain people it was electric. So I was trying to pull up pictures to show people. And that's when it dawned on me that, like, I'm looking at two separate motors and two separate social media posting groups here. And so he had one that was more of a Torpedo gray and orange color scheme, which made me think it's a Torpedo. And then the newest one I see is an NT300 looking dinghy. I mean, I can't zoom in enough to get numbers, but as far as I can tell, yeah, they've gone through two different iterations of electric motors.
He's definitely done his research, man.
And yeah, we don't throw things away out here. We just don't. Maybe he did. You know, that would be complete speculation on my part, but I don't know. I'd keep a backup.
When you're living aboard, having a spare of everything is pretty handy, especially, you know, something that propels you, an engine. Those are really critical. It's not like having extra treasures or luxuries. These are essential. You wouldn't get rid of that. And listen, I'm not saying you didn't. Maybe they did. But the chances that there might be one of those.
He's very smart. He's a lawyer. He just isn't a practicing lawyer, but he has a law degree. And you could tell, huh?
Spare engines on board, there should be perhaps. And if it's not, that could be a problem. And since you brought it up, you were also kind enough, thank you, to give me the specs on that.
Well, I mean, he would have to find them. He's literally out in the ocean on the coast of St. Martin. So Bri would have to seek him out. I don't think he's afraid of Brian. I think he's more worried about Lynette.
Potential NT300 engine. And I have been saying all along that little tiny electric engine maybe goes 2 to 4 miles an hour. There's actually a couple of different variations on how fast you can go and how much power you burn. So the faster you go with that engine, the fewer hours you have to be out and about. And the slower you go with that engine, the longer you can be about. Do you have those offhand? I have them in front of me, but I'd love you to sort of talk the audience through that.
So you have a power curve of ideal optimum range of where an engine likes to operate at. And the NT300, I think it runs off a 36 volt battery system.
That's what it says.
And then what would happen in that scenario, especially since it's lithium, is you're able to operate in full range maximum amount of time of the battery, and then it just cuts off. It's like your Ryobi drills, right? It's not like the old flashlights where you can bang them a couple of times and get the light out of it. It's like once that drill battery's dead, it's dead.
When it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, when it's gone, it's gone. So the lithium battery pack for the NT300, if he has been driving that thing for a couple of years now, he's going to know where his optimal range is, right? And we don't know what size battery he had because his old Torpedo, there was a battery pack that slid in, right? So you could calculate how much battery. But the NT300 has a cable that comes out to it. You put in your own battery pack or their proprietary battery pack, but it's essentially 36 volts. You could have, 3 car batteries. His dinghy isn't big enough for that, but you could have. You can't calculate his range and limit it based off of that dinghy motor because he could.
I get up at the wrong times. Oh my God.
3 car batteries. His dinghy isn't big enough for that, but you could have. You can't calculate his range.
Teeny weeny, shriveled little dingy man. Don't want. What is it? Shrivel. Wait. Itty bitty, teeny weeny, shriveled little short dingy. Don't want.
Car batteries. His dinghy isn't big enough for that, but you could have. You can't calculate his range and limit it based off of that dinghy motor, because he could have had any.
I thought it was interesting when I saw if you go slow, they call it low trolling speed. If you go 2 to 3 miles per hour, which is what I assumed is roughly what that engine could do, you got 30 hours
Correct.
of runtime. I thought maybe only 4 hours, but they got 30. So that's interesting. If you go faster, and if you're in a hurry and you're trying to do bad things, you're probably going to go faster. If you go cruise or mid power, you're going 4 to 5 miles an hour. Still kind of slow, but quicker. And now you've only got 4 hours. That goes down to 4 hours. So that comes down real fast.
Correct.
If you want to go full power, 6 to 6.5 miles an hour, again, you'll get over to Marsh Harbor in 40 minutes at that speed, right? You only get, by that point, you only get 1 to 1.5 hours. So not much. So it's just really interesting to know the speed that he might be using at any time and the length of time he knows he's got before that battery's dead at any time of day, whatever he might be doing.
And the only thing I would add to that is they base that off of those numbers off of a standard dinghy, and there's nothing standard about his dinghy.
Oh my God, Blake. I fucking love this guy. He made himself laugh. There is nothing standard about that little dinghy. It's just little. It's just little. Oh my God. This is too funny.
Of a standard dinghy, and there's nothing standard about his dinghy. So I'm sure his speeds are a lot slower.
Explain that.
Okay, so a rigid.
God damn, is he funny? Oh.
Dinghy, and there's nothing standard about his dinghy.
He said it all serious, and then he caught himself. He's like, "Oh, fuck."
So I'm.
I need that as a soundbite. There is nothing standard about his dinghy.
Dinghy, and there's nothing standard about his dinghy. So I'm sure his speeds are a lot slower.
Explain that.
Okay, so a rigid inflatable dinghy is that's what RIB stands for, rigid inflatable, and that they're rubber sides. The whole design on them, almost anything, is more modern. There's a kind of reason why Boss went out of business. But his is just a bathtub floating through the water. It's hard fiberglass. It is only 120 pounds, but when you look at the front of the boat, it doesn't have a deep V in the front like a lot of the ribs do for getting up on plane, right?
Golly.
So he kind of beats the water into submission with his dinghy, where the rest of us come right on top of it.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I don't think.
Blake. Holy. I cannot. He is so funny.
He kind of beats the water into submission with his dinghy.
Holy shit. Wow. He said it. He said it.
He kind of beats the water into submission with his dinghy, where the rest of us come right on top of it. So yeah, I don't think, because when I saw those stats, I'm like, okay, maybe he was going fast enough in the dinghy at 5 knots to hit like a wake from another boat to cause somebody to bounce.
Oh boy.
But not. he's not moving that dinghy that fast with that amount of weight in it.
Yeah. And if something nefarious happened afterwards, and none of Brian's story is, if none of Brian's story is true, he's got not a whole lot of time to ping around the Sea of Abaco in that dinghy in the dark.
And you know someone like Brian who's a big freaking baby, he hears that and it probably infuriates him. Just those little chuckles about his dinghy.
Bing bang.
Oops, wrong one. This is Brian right now.
Boo-hoo.
He's got, if he's mid-power, he's got 6 to 6.5 hours, but he's already been out. They've already been out down to Tahiti Beach and then all the way back another quarter mile, maybe half mile into Abaco Inn and back out again, and maybe all the way back to Soulmate. So the battery use has already been at play during that day. So it's not going to be full battery power at the time anything nefarious might have happened on board Soulmate. So now that we've gotten sort of the battery issue out of the way, I want to talk a little bit about the life vests, because when we spoke with Pete Colling, who is one of the fire and rescue guys who was first to spend some time with Brian, he mentioned that he saw 2 life vests in the bottom of the dinghy. And I checked back with him and I said, Pete, did you see them in the bottom of the dinghy, or did you see them stowed in the front stowage area that's behind a little, stowage door? And he said,
I don't like stowage on dinghies.
No, they were right there in the bottom of the dinghy. And then you brought something interesting to my attention about Coast Guard approved life jackets. They almost all, if not all, have one very specific feature right up here, close to your
whistle.
mouth. And what is it?
Yeah, the whistle.
The whistle.
So I've been trying for a couple of nights now to get permission from everybody in the anchorage to do a sound travel over water test, right? Because where I am is pretty much the entire length behind me, which you can't see at night here, but to land over there is the entire length of that Abaco Sea area. And so I wanted to know, I do not know how far sound travels on water, but I know I can hear a dog barking on that beach in the right conditions.
I can hear sound traveling on water a mile away where I'm from. And I'll tell you something, the higher pitched it is, the more you're going to hear it. And he's already put himself on record with Fire and Rescue that where he was, where he says this is about the area where Lynette went overboard, he says it's 1,000 meters to Soulmate. So we're talking about, 1,000 yards. It's 1,000 yards. So we're only talking about 1,000 yards here. I'm pretty sure you can hear a whistle at 1,000 yards over water.
Yes, so the information that you just gave about the life vest being on the floor it just doesn't add up to me. Like, at some point, was he floating and then just taking inventory of what was in his boat and second guessing what he should have done? Like, why would you pull the life vest out when you're about to land on shore and you're just drifting anyways? But the whistle is just one thing. I mean, it's also the flares. You're getting people who are taking pictures of sunsets. There's been no picture of a flare. There's been no tourist who's like, oh, is that a SpaceX launch? There hasn't been, and that's why from my very first interview till now, back when I was like, hey, find out who saw the flares so we can I was trying to use that to pinpoint a location of where she fell in. Right? Well, now it turns out he knows where she fell in, and now I know the area better. But there's the flares and the whistles and everything he had available to him. There wasn't a logical explanation ever given on how you forgot everything you knew in the last 3 years.
He didn't forget
and as
shit.
a United States Marine, and you are not in a screaming wind, and you are not in big seas at all. It was fairly calm. It was glass calm at exactly that time, just a quarter mile down the shore. I've seen it. We've got video of it being glass calm. Yeah, so, we already know that that's bullshit. The seas were angry, my friend. They were not. And so you could have just jumped out because it's about 4 or 5 feet of water where that dinghy was scooting along the shoreline. You didn't have to go out the channel. You're not a deep drawing vessel. You were drawing about 6 inches. You can scoot along closer to shore and fly, go closer like the crow flies. So you probably could have stood on the bottom where this whole thing was purported to have happened. So the whole thing is just none of it.
But if you've been in an area for 2
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It's so shallow.
months, you learn the depths to cut the channels in a dinghy.
Yes.
So, when we make this T coming out the channel, there are the boaters out there, and I see them in the comment section. I understand, you follow all the rules and you go out to the end of the T, out through the channel and you go. That's fine, but those are also the people who are wearing their life vests and not drinking and driving and, right? So
exactly.
The rest of us,
in a dinghy,
we know to cut the corner right around the first post or whatever post it is. You don't know when you first get there. I'm not going to say you do, right? But then you watch a dinghy do it. You're like, oh, okay, I know I can go that far now. And then the next time you watch another local going by in a John boat that cuts the corner even more.
But also, Blaine, honest to God, come on. I mean, look at when you draw 6 inches and you see that you've got 3 feet of water all the way off to a certain point, you're taking that route. You're not going all the way out into the middle of the Sea of Abaco because the channel's marked that way. You know by the charts where the water is safe. That's how most people navigate a dinghy going to shore. That's just kind of the boater's way.
Yeah, especially if you've been there 2 months. I will admit, when I first get somewhere, I'm staying in the middle of the channel. I don't know because I can't afford another propeller on. I mean, once you've run your propeller into the ground once, you learn that one. But that again, I guess if there's anything I want to say is every part of this investigation, or anybody who's trying to help, or anybody who's trying to figure this out, or they're just following the story, is just ignore everything Brian said and say we have a missing person seen at 6:34 here, and work from there, right? Because I can't.
Hooker, your friend just said disregard everything that you've said and start from the last place she was seen, which was the Abaco Inn. She was not seen after the Abaco Inn, as far as we know, right? Thank you, Aristo. I appreciate you and I respect you. Thank you. Start at the beginning, right? Let's take out all his horse shit. Who cares where he washed up, right? Start at the Abaco and go from there. I'm still disturbed that he was walking back to the dinghy by himself. Are you guys? Do you guys think that was innocent, that she was just in the bathroom? Or do you think that that was way too early for anything to have transpired, being that she was just dancing and taking videos, but then he was by himself at 7? Because he was sitting on that chair, just looking out into the ocean, almost imagining where he was going to go. And then he walks to the dinghy by himself. You think it happened on Soulmate? To me, it seemed like a titty baby fit, and he had probably left her out of spite. That could be. That could be. I think she was on the dinghy and he went back for something. I do think he did something to her on the Soulmate, says Nick. Do you think that was just an innocent, he went back, but he was gone for 20 minutes? Because remember, Lynette's daughter saw them walk down at like 6:40 or 6:35, 6:40. And then they both walked down to the dinghy. And then he's going back alone. Did he take her back to the big boat and then go back for something? He does, Dreamfeed. Good to see you.
Find a single thing that he said to me to be truthful. Yeah.
Nothing.
It wasn't dark. And he says it wasn't dark. That's the worst part about it. He says in his audio recording me, it was 10 minutes before sunset, and then the sun went down, And then we just, I mean, the picture he paints, we're going through this timeline, but we have to go through it at a warp speed. Because if I just sit here for 10 minutes, if I just put a camera on for 10 minutes to show people how long 10 minutes is, it's remarkable. I mean, basically, when you cut out the commercials, it's an entire Big Bang Theory episode.
Well, let me tell you as well, I actually sat there and watched it personally in that spot. And it's getting dusky around 7:50, 7:55, pretty dusky, but it's like 3.5 minutes where it goes, boom. I mean, in 3.5 minutes, you go from dusky, I can still see you, to it's dark. But I mean, you still have a lot of time, and it was nowhere near 8 o'clock at night to go all the way from the little Abaco in through the White Sound Panel and around the corner would have taken all of 12 minutes. So it wouldn't have taken you till 8 o'clock at night. It wouldn't have taken you till 7:50 at night. It wouldn't have taken you till 7:40 at night if he says what he says.
Right.
I left at 7:30. I was on my way, and out she went in the dark. It's not possible.
And again, that's why I'm saying we really got to just throw away everything he's saying, because it doesn't work like that out here. And I understand, like, I watched your podcast where you were sitting up at that one restaurant and you're like, and now it's dark. But also living out here on the water, our eyes adjust as that light goes down. Right now, my outside lights are on for probably the first time in a week to have this interview, but we can see across the water pretty well even when it's dark, because our eyes adjusted as we came down too. So I'm at that point now where
I'm almost done debating that, because it's just not debatable, you know.
Right.
Just
Brian's
his story and his
is
timeline is impossible with the sun. I mean, we can all screw up our own calendars and clocks, but you can't screw with the sun. The sun's going down when the sun's going down. And when you're on video and on, snaps on iPhones heading out around 7 p.m., you can't mess with the reality of when darkness really falls, and it doesn't fall into his timeline.
Right, and that's what we do.
I mean, straight up, he said it was dark, and we saw him in that live photo at 7, and it was still light, and they had already boarded the dinghy even prior to that. So him saying it was dark, he's totally just telling when he did it. It was dark when he did what he did.
Social media is, my wife shows sunsets every night, so we're very familiar with sunset. I mean, if there's ever be somebody who's a professional on sunset, it's my wife, who broadcasts them every night of the week for the last 8 months. And then she does afterwards.
So basically what they're telling you here is that when the sun sets, when you're on the water and it's just flat, you know, the sun sets and it's just like it's there, and you have like a teeny tiny bit of light, and then once it just hits that one point where it's on the horizon, boom, it's gone.
We have underwater lights under our boat, and she turns them on and lets the fish come. But from the time the sun sets till it's dark enough for her to turn on the underwater lights is the hour and a half we have dinner. That's her break in her programming, right? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of time between when somebody that's in Iowa arguing with me online, like, well, they said the sun set at 6:34. It
doesn't matter.
That's not when it gets dark.
That's right.
Someone in Iowa.
Sunsets.
Someone in Iowa is arguing with this guy, Brian. It's probably Brian. Who else would argue? I mean, it's Iowa. You're in the cornfields and you're arguing with this guy. It's like on the boat, living on the boat.
But it's still light out until the sun is long gone deep under the horizon. And you're right, it's around an hour to an hour and a half. So anybody who's looking at sunset, that's not your metric.
But it is amazing what he did in his phone call to me and in his talks to everybody, is the amount of breadcrumbs that he threw out there almost as a distraction. He has an electric motor and the world got hung up on that for a week, right? They were hung up on how he couldn't start his engine. But he also throws in there the wife had the spare key in the dry bag. That Lynette had it in the dry bag, right? But even if it was on Soulmate, it's just as unavailable to him as if it was in the dry bag. That was like an unnecessary detail that to add in there. Like it's still unattainable, whether it's on the boat or in her bag. It had nothing to do with the story. It had nothing to do.
Right.
There's these weird things in his story that's just like.
Because he's over explaining everything. You know why? Because he's lying. Okay. So that's about it for that one. But what I want to show you next is something interesting that I found. Remember the other day, Ashley talked about the green watch that was bought and it was given to Carly, but she forgot to bring it back to Michigan. And there was talk of a green watch on the boat that Brian bought her to replace one that she lost or something like that. Well, I found this video from the Sailing Hookers from 2023. And this is Lynette making pigs in a blanket. And she's wearing a green watch. So was that an old watch and not necessarily a new one? I know that was an amazing discussion they had. The two of them together are going to crack this case. The old watch couldn't hold the charge, right? But he said he bought her a new one that was green, right? But he didn't. It wasn't 2023. Right? Oh my God, you did. I included that video you sent me in our video that I posted today. Oh my God, amazing. So what do you make of that, Lindsay? Do you think that he's lying? Like, what do we make of this? That there was a green watch in 2023? And does that even look like an Apple Watch? I'm confused about what he's lying about and why. It does look like an Apple to me. But it's an old one. Is it just an old strap prior to the pink one? So where did the news about the green watch come from? So Carly talked about it. She was given it when they were there. But she didn't take it with her. I think that Ashley said it didn't fit, is what we were told. It didn't fit. Isn't that what you guys were told, though, Lindsay? Is that she didn't use it because it didn't fit? Unless this is a totally different watch band, you know? So I just thought that was interesting, huh? Carly forgot it on the charger. I don't know. It's just interesting, right? I was watching a lot of their videos, or she straight up didn't want it. I just feel like he's controlling, and he was trying to like somehow dip into her data stuff. I know the second watch didn't fit. I don't know if that second watch was green. I thought that's what was said. I'm so confused. Green dry bags, yellow dry bags, teal dry bags, teal cover-ups. It's also confusing. Did you guys see the latest that the Cameo sailors put out? That was a great episode, by the way, Lindsay. Really great. You guys are kicking ass. Kicking ass and holding it to Hooker. I love it. The latest he put out is amazing. So we're going to watch this from the Sailing Cameo, or is that what they're called? Yeah, Sailing Cameo. Let me pull it up. I'm like, Trisha, I thought I had it ready. He would need her passcodes. Hey, Katie K, good to see you. Thank you. Did you get to the point where they discuss how the data went out? Yes, we did. We did. We sure did. Okay, here we go. This is Blaine. This is going to be
quite snapped in all the way. And
hold on. He says the title of this is important. You're going to love this guy even more. I'm telling you. It says, for us guys, this is not just about one person. It's the dozens of them. You ready? If you thought you loved Blaine before, you're about to love Blaine a whole lot more.
hey, this message is for all the men out there. Recently, in the last 2 weeks, my algorithm has completely changed, and I have found a world that I did not know was as large as it was. And that's the world of domestic violence. And every single story that comes across my feed from my algorithm that's changed so dramatically, I see the same comment over and over again. Why did she stay? Why didn't she leave? How about us? How about us, guys? How about just get a fucking divorce, guys? Right? If you have reached the point where you have ever put your hands on a woman you loved out of anger, you can put your hands on a goddamn pen. Okay? I met the woman of my dreams on July 15th, 2005. I have never put my hands on her in anger. I think we've raised our voice to each other twice in 20 years. But that is not the beginning of our story. That is not how we fell in love. See, in May of that previous year, I got divorced. Me and my ex-wife fit together like a discount Lego and a real Lego. Not quite snapped in all the way, and just a ton of friction trying to make it work. It looked like it should work. It felt like it should work, but it didn't quite work. And my ex,
I love that metaphor, though. That is, he's using Legos. You know why? Because he's been watching the Lego videos. I bet you he's been watching the Lego videos.
Wife,
I love this
without
guy.
physical violence involved, decided she wanted a divorce. I went through every range of emotion during that process, and I thank her every day for that. She is happily married to the man of her dreams. I'm happily married to the woman of my dreams. I don't know what would have become of us if we kept trying to make it work. But men, if you've reached that point where you feel like you cannot control your emotions, that this other person has pushed you to a point to take everything you've been trained not to do and do it, pick up a pen, not your hands. I am sick and tired of seeing she should have left. What about the dude? Where is your moral integrity? If you were not raised to put your hands on women, and every one of these cases where somebody ends up unalived, we find out it was the fourth or the fifth time. So I'm telling you, if you ever pick up your hands and put it on the person you love out of anger, pick up a pen. Just get a divorce. I'm going to end this with this series of photos of me and my wife, and my ex-wife and her husband together. Memories we wouldn't have if we had continued down the road we were going. Beautiful memories. Her wedding, family vacations, watching our kids grow up together. For every comment out there that says, why didn't she leave? There should be 4 that says, why didn't he leave?
I thank God for unanswered prayers.
You know why? Because of money. But what a great guy. What a great guy. Thank you, Blaine. For real. We're going to go back here for a
on
second.
Soulmate.
We're going to go back here for a second. And hey, Deanne in France. Justice for Lynette, for sure. We're going to go read some of these comments. I want to see. I heard that Awesome was in the comments. Hi, Brian. I know you're watching. You're not going to get away with this. Arrest this man. I think he put his dry bag into hers, or her dry bag into his. I'm just trying to see if there's any. There's so many comments. Oh my God, please someone charge him. I think he found out about the ticket to fly home. Yeah, I'm not seeing. I wonder if I can search. Way down one with most replies. Okay, let me sort. Top. The one with the most replies. There's one with 8. I mean, how many replies does it have? I thought it would be easy to find. You can control F in comments. I did not know that. I just learned something. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. There was only 6 yesterday. Oh my God, there's so many. This one has 14 replies. Let's see. John Bassaglone says, that is what I said about a week after she went missing. She could have been alive and pretty buzzed or asleep when he took her out to the Atlantic. He then throws her overboard in the night, 15 miles out to sea. That's pretty exact. Even if she was awake, she would not be seen, drown, and sink. People who are even mildly buzzed, drunk, will drown. I was a hardcore surfer, and I know the effects of alcohol on your ability to swim. They don't mix, especially for a middle-aged 55-year-old woman. Also, no passing vessels will see or hear her in the night. What if he let her go in and, like, go to sleep? I think he choked her into unconsciousness and threw her overboard. Okay. I mean, he's got to be livid with this guy talking. Let's see. Try scuba tanks filled and buried in a cave somewhere not far. Okay. Yeah, this guy says, let's bury someone, making it incredibly easier to find her rather than use the ocean to almost guarantee she'll never be found. Real high IQ thinking there, champ. He's buried her on that beach in bushes behind the restaurant, picked her body up at night, and took her out to sea. Let's see if there's any more. There's a shit ton of comments. I'm not seeing any with a ton of replies. Just, you're awesome, Ashley. I'll scroll for another second and then see. Rachel Lapham thinks he drugged her. Huh. That's what I taught. We talked about that when when Ashley interviewed the bartender. I was telling you guys how in Aruba at Carlos and Charlie's, where Natalie Holloway went missing from, or she was there. Yeah, this is Ashley's comments. Anyways, where she went missing from, it was known by the locals, aka Joran Vandersloot, that you could pay the bartender an extra $10 and they'll drug the drink. They'll roofie the drink for you. Does that happen in the Bahamas? I don't know. I don't know. That bartender seemed a little close to... He was really like closer. I don't know. I can't find the comments, but it is what it is. That's it for the hooker update. If you guys... I'm going to get into the latest with Jimmy Kimmel and ABC. That's what we're going to talk about next. Yeah. And it was just a known thing, like for 10 extra bucks, here you go. Oh, wait till you see this, Lindsay. This is great. Okay. So Trump is just proving himself to be a little snowflake. And, you know, I voted for Trump, okay? So I'm not like just sitting here hating on Trump. But he is proving himself to be the biggest snowflake of them all. So Jimmy Kimmel, after the White House Correspondents' Dinner, the shooting and all that, okay? In Jimmy Kimmel fashion, love him or hate him, I'm not a huge fan of any of these people, but I'm keeping up on what's going on around us. And I'm bringing you guys what I'm finding, okay? I'm not a huge fan. I don't watch Jimmy Kimmel. He's funny sometimes, but he's nasty sometimes. I don't know. But anyways, this is going to blow your guys' mind, because where this has gone from this roast that I'm about to show you.
Don't be nasty sometimes.
Oh, it's been fucking hilarious. That's why I'm showing you. So he did a roast 5 days ago. Okay, this was last week. And Melania and Trump are crying in their gloves.
Boo-hoo.
And I got to grab a drink. But I'm going to start the roast so you guys can watch what he did on the show. And if this is the direction we're going, where the Trumps are wanting to ban free speech, if it has to do with them, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. Okay, so here's the roast. I'll be right back. I'm going to go grab a Coke, and then we'll tell you where this is leading to. I'm not here to argue politics, Dark Diary Files. I'm not, because I don't like any of these people. I'm a fair hater, okay? I'm not getting all emotional. I'm not gonna put myself in Trump's shoes and get emotional. I'm not doing it, okay? It's just not gonna happen here. We're not crying about politicians here. Okay? Okay. If he wasn't scared the first time that he was shot at, why didn't he have stronger security? Why was that place wide ass open? I mean, we have to use common sense here. Anyways, here we go. Come on. Shit's funny as hell. Who did your makeup crap single? Oh my God. He threw dog in there. He freaking threw dog in there, y'all. If you know, you know. In trouble right there. That's what got him in trouble right there.
Is on Sunday.
And, to be frank with you, I don't think anybody, no matter who the president is, should be joking about them dying. I just think when we've reached that level, we need to push it back a little bit because that's just not cool. Like, when I was raised that we respect our president, no matter who he is. However, times have changed, and I just think this shit's a little dangerous. But I guess it's all in the name of humor. And roasting the politicians since the beginning of time on Saturday Night Live, anyways, finds this to be threatening to him is a joke to me. I guess I expect our president to, like, not get mad about skits on TV. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not showcasing this like, oh my God, it's so funny. I'm showcasing this like, this has our president and the first lady's panties in a wad. It's ridiculous. It's like, dude, is this real life? Don't you have bigger fucking things to worry about than Jimmy Kimmel doing a skit on late night TV? Or no? Don't we have a war going on right now? Pretty sure we do. That was supposed to only last like what, a couple days or something? Still going on. But we're worried about this. And no one has a problem with that?
Here, but actually her husband is. I don't know, where is her husband?
Like, if I was in the military, I'd be like, really? My commander-in-chief is worried about this? It's just a parody. This is an event. He's roasting the White House Correspondents' Dinner. This is just on his show. This was 5 days ago on it.
He's like,
you had to watch this to get the gist of what I'm about to show you next, okay? So there's more to it. It's about 5 minutes more, but I'm not going to play it all. What I'm going to do is show you a news report from CNN.
The FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, has suddenly ordered, years ahead of schedule, a review of licenses for the Disney-owned and operated ABC local stations. Now, this comes just one day after the First Lady and the President demanded ABC and its parent company, Disney, fire Jimmy Kimmel over a joke he made on his late-night talk show days before the White House Correspondent Dinner. The FCC is saying in a filing, and I quote, Disney's ABC is hereby directed to file license renewals for all of their licensed TV stations within 30 days, in other words, by May 28, 2026. The FCC chair, Brendan Carr, is a Trump ally. Now the FCC says the license review is related to an ongoing probe into Disney's diversity initiatives. It would only involve the 8 ABC stations owned by Disney. Critics of the action see it as government retaliation for airing Kimmel's show and resisting pressure from the president.
So they called for him to be fired after that. Yeah, do you remember how much Biden was made fun of for boarding fucking Air Force One? Or, yeah, on his bike? Titty baby, man. I can't.
Disney released a statement that reads, quote, ABC and its stations have a long record of operating in full compliance with FCC rules and serving their local communities with trusted news, emergency information, and public interest programming. Disney adds, we are confident the record demonstrates our continued qualifications as licensees under the Communications Act and the First Amendment and are prepared to show that through the appropriate legal channels. Now, again, the FCC action comes on the heels of Melania Trump calling for Jimmy Kimmel's firing based on this joke he told in a sketch last Thursday.
and of course, our First Lady Melania is here. Look at Melania, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow.
That was 3 days before the shooting. Monday morning, the First Lady posted on X his monologue about my family isn't comedy. His words are
here's her post on Truth Social.
Corrosive, and they deepen the political sickness within the country. The president later said the joke was a, quote, despicable call to violence, and added that Kimmel should be immediately fired by Disney and ABC. Kimmel, for his part, is not backing down, had this to say on the show last night.
It was a very light roast joke about the fact that he's almost 80 and she's younger than I am. It was not.
Okay, we're going to watch his show, but hold on. Now we're going to go. Now we're going to go to the show from last night. This is the follow-up. This is Jimmy's follow-up, okay? And you guys got to watch this with me. This is just, I mean, I just can't even believe that our president, it would be like, it's like me running my YouTube channel, right? with true crime. And then when people come in with drama, like dropping everything and dealing with the drama, like, no, dude, you got bigger fish to fry than Jimmy Kimmel. But apparently they feel like they don't. So this is last night's show.
We're coming to you from Los Angeles. Thanks for joining us here on another weird day. There is so much nonsense, and I mean that in a very literal sense of the word.
It is a weird day. It's a weird day every day lately.
Nonsense happening. At the same time, there are also so many awful and scary and flat out unbelievable things going on. The world has been turned upside down, mostly for no good reason. And so today we got a visitor, one of the very few people who might actually be able to tip things even slightly in a positive direction. The King of England is in the United States. King Charles and Queen Camilla are here.
We watched a little bit of this last night, but the way that he put these clips together is so funny, you guys.
To visit President Beef on Wellington, and also they have quite an itinerary. They're going to New York. They're making a stop at the Wisconsin Dells. They're going to a screening of The Devil Wears Prada 2 at the Burbank AMC, and I guess they're wrapping it up with a Fish concert in Vegas at the Sphere. Trump has a particular affinity for the royal family, and so in Washington, they pulled out all the stops to welcome the king and queen. The Department of Transportation lined the streets with what they thought was the Union Jack. The British flag turned out to be the Australian flag. So they had to take them all down and swap them out.
Can you believe it? Dude. They had to swap out the flags?
Somehow they managed to screw everything up. It was a literal false flag operation going on there. Yesterday, the royals joined the Trumps for afternoon tea, and boy, would I love to be a fly on the cucumber sandwiches for that conversation. No way Trump was drinking tea, right? I bet they boiled some Diet Coke and put it in a cup for him. King Charles delivered a speech today before a joint session of Congress. His goal in this trip is to try to calm transatlantic tensions. Trump heard this. He said, the Atlantic is trans now, too? But Charles gave a good speech. He paid tribute to his mother, the late Queen Elizabeth. The monarchy is a strange thing. Imagine getting...
Thank you, Mary J. I think you're amazing, Jay. I love your personality. Thanks, Mary J. Blige. I know this. Thank you for your support.
Promoted because your mom died. Right? You know, there's a story today that suggested that Trump and the king may be distant cousins. They might be related, which Trump saw and posted, wow, that's nice. I've always wanted to live in Buckingham Palace. I'll talk to the king and queen about this in a few minutes. Okay, I'm sure they'll be thrilled to have such a formidable roommate in their home. You know, this idea that Trump might be the king's distant cousin is exactly the plot of the movie King Rock. And look it up. It's spot on. Trump was very excited about hosting the king, and a lot of it is because Trump's mom was a great fan of the royal family.
My wonderful mother, Mary McLeod. She came to America at 19, met my incredible father. We loved him so much. We all loved him. We loved her. We loved him. Fred, and they were married for 63 years. And excuse me, if you don't mind, that's a record we won't be able to match, darling. I'm sorry. Just not going to work out that way.
Wait a minute. Did he just make a joke about his death? My God. He should be fired for that. Only Donald Trump.
He should be fired.
You should be fired for that. Only Donald Trump would demand I be fired for making a joke about his old age and then a day later go out and make a joke about his own old age.
Oh, you can't make it up, folks.
Just when you think they've hit peak ridiculous, making a big thing out of this joke, they then top themselves and criminally charge former FBI Director Jim Comey, who Trump doesn't like because he did his job and investigated him. They charged Comey once with obstruction and with making a false statement, which went nowhere. It got thrown out of court. So now they're charging him again, this time with threatening the president's life for this. This is not a joke. They're charging him with threatening the president's life for this photo of seashells that spell out 8647. 86 is an old restaurant term. It means get rid of, and Trump is the 47th president. Trump's pets in the DOJ are claiming this is some kind of threat or call to violence, which even he should be embarrassed by this. Put that back up. That is not a threat. That is a piece of art your aunt with a beach house would buy on Etsy. But he's being charged with a crime, and Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche said the crime carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. And
So this is what the former FBI Director Comey is being indicted on, this threat. And I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, should the FBI, former FBI director, be fucking around like that? I mean, but I don't like anyone trying to take away our freedom of speech. And Trump is a big man baby who can't handle someone roasting him. And that's just pathetic. I thought he was a lot tougher than that.
But he's being charged with a crime, and Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche said the crime carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. And I'm guessing it's not the 5-star Bikram yoga prison he transferred Ghislaine Maxwell to. He also said this wasn't politically motivated.
Ain't that the truth, though? Ain't that the truth, how she got that transfer?
Yeah, they just, you know what? They just don't like people named Jim, is what I've learned. So last night, America's Mayor Rudy Giuliani rose from the grave to weigh in.
Listen, you guys, this is the funniest part, okay? Are you ready? This is fucking hilarious. I'm going to put it on normal speed. We're going to just watch this chunk of Rudy because it's goddamn hilarious. I mean, I laughed my fucking ass off.
The ongoing drama involving me.
Dad, I want you, if you don't have it, I want you to dig out the one from maybe one of the most distasteful human beings in this country, Jimmy Kimmel.
What was that sound? You just... Well, I have to say it hurts to be called distasteful by a man who farted his own pants off in front of Borat's daughter. But excuse me, you know what? I'm being rude. I interrupted the mayor. Please go ahead with the broadcast.
Kimmel was making believe that he was hosting the White House Correspondents' Dinner, which I think he did once. I don't know. Probably only once, and about 4 people watched it. I mean, he bombed like, as usual. This is supposed to be a comedian. Is there something funny? Could you play it one more time, Ted?
This is not edited. This is not fake. This was his actual show.
He went through the bother of putting up like a little stage, and
right.
He's also like an incompetent jackass.
I have to say, it's confusing to be called an incompetent jackass by a man who accidentally held a press conference outside a dildo store, who doesn't seem to have any understanding of when videos are running and when they aren't, and has a gallon of squidding dribbling off the top of his head.
I remember that.
Do you think, does this man have any family members who can come get him already? Team Trump has been using the attack at the White House Correspondents' Dinner to get out of paying for the ballroom. He said would be paid for by private donors as a gift to America, paid partly by him. But now, and this is a classic Trump move, he wants us to pay for it to the tune of $400 million.
Yeah, have you heard this? $400 million for this fucking ballroom. Actually, we're going to keep watching this. Because that's some bullshit. This is funny.
But keep in mind that even though we would have to pay for it, once the ballroom is finished, none of us will ever be allowed to set foot in it. And while it may seem crazy to be talking about a ballroom with a war going on, it is.
It is insane to do this again. Anybody who suggests that we have an event like this in the times in which we live, in a facility like Hilton, that's crazy. We're going to have to accommodate the times in which we live. And Eric, you nailed it. There are people out there that are nuts.
And that is why they have no choice but to barricade themselves inside a solid gold drone-proof ballroom. And by the way, I love that Trump put Lindsay in charge of the ballroom push.
We're going to introduce legislation that would authorize $400 million to be spent to secure to build the presidential ballroom. Underneath, there will be a lot of military stuff. The estimate is $332 million. We're going to do $400 million because I think it's probably going to take more.
Nana Stacy, I'm not here as a fan of Kimmel either. I'm just here to laugh at this whole situation. It's crazy.
Private donations can be used, but I think they should be used for buying China and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, buying China and stuff like that. Yeah, they're so down. They're so looking out for us. They so care about us. They don't give a fuck about us, okay? They don't care that we're having to buy preservatives in our food because we can't afford the fucking organic good food, right? They don't care. But they're going to buy their fucking China. It shit pisses me off, dude. Out of touch. Don't lose your friends and family over these fucks. They're not worth it. They don't care about you.
Private donations can be used, but I think they should be used for buying China and stuff like that.
China and stuff like that. You're going to spend $300 million on China and stuff like that. The only thing Lindsey Graham loves more than war is dinnerware. He just send in the gravy boats. Lindsey Graham, man, does this guy have his finger on the pulse of the average American? All he wants is to cha-cha past the president's bedroom with a Limoges porcelain teacup in his hand.
I mean, have you seen our homeless situation? And we're worried about fucking China and ballrooms. Get the fuck out of here.
But his fellow Republicans are split. A funding bill would likely require 60 votes in the Senate, which is unlikely to happen. Lindsey Graham can't just wave his Little Mermaid bubble wand and make it so. And if he could, he wouldn't be constantly begging for money.
I need your help. I hate to say this, but I've been outraged twice by Democrats. Please go to lindseygraham.com and help me if you can. I've been with President Trump at every step. The Democrats have money. I don't know where they're getting all this money, but I need your help. lindseygraham.com. Please help me if you can. Please help me if you can. lindseygraham.com.
Like a hostage video. It would be less embarrassing if he was selling pictures of his feet. If you need money, start an OnlyFans. Well, this foiled shooting at the Hilton on Saturday night has created a lot of waves. One of them was it took the focus off of FBI Director Kash Patel, who is weathering a storm of stories about drinking on the job, which is something he absolutely, positively would never, ever do.
By the way, this next clip is AI. You ready?
We will analyze all evidence immediately to make sure that we safeguard this country. Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, thank you for your leadership. Attorney General.
The fuck? Oh my God. I feel like I'm watching YouTube, but this is our government. This is our mainstream TV, guys. In 2026.
Secretary Mullen, thank you for your partnership in law enforcement.
Well, get that man a roadie cup, for God's sake. And of course, all of this self-inflicted stupidity it's a distraction from inflation and the price of gas and the grifting and the Trump Epstein files they claim don't exist, and the fact that we are still fighting a war that the president declared we won on the first day. We're now on week 9 of the war. Trump is said to be dissatisfied with the latest proposal from Iran to reopen the strait, but a spokesperson for the White House told the New York Times that the United States will not negotiate through the press. That's right. The United States negotiates exclusively through unhinged social media posts.
For real.
From the president's toilet in the middle of the night. But most people, sadly, I guess, aren't paying attention to any of this. Most people are more interested in the movie about Michael Jackson than the war in Iran. You know, Michael made $97 million over the weekend. It's the biggest opening ever for a biopic. Isn't
that crazy? 97 million. Michael. Poor Michael.
Though it leaves out a lot of stuff. It starts with him in the Jackson 5. It goes all the way to him becoming a superstar, but it ends before he becomes an old white lady who lives in an abandoned amusement park with a monkey in a leather jacket.
See, I'm a fan of Michael Jackson, and I'm not mad at Jimmy Kimmel for the joke. Everybody needs to just calm down. They're just jokes.
It's not a complete story. Janet Jackson doesn't even exist in the movie. His only sister in the movie is LaToya, and they don't go into any of the many allegations, which is odd for a movie about someone's life. But also, would you go to a movie about child molesting? I don't know. Seems like it might take some of the attention away from the moonwalking. But controversy aside, whenever a major blockbuster drops, we send our in-house film critic Yaya to review it. And here he is, once again, talking about the movie Michael.
Oh my God. I'm not watching this. This is really stupid. Okay. The next thing I want to show you, I have something else. Remember we watched Lego videos the other day? I have a new Lego video for you guys that was made after the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And it kind of piggybacks on what we talked about Melania and Melania's friend. Okay. So Melania came here from Slovenia. Okay. I'm going to put the captions on so you guys can read it too. Melania came from Slovenia with a modeling agency run by, I can't remember the Italian guy's name. Anyways, there was another girl that was with her. And they were close friends, right? They both got married. Palio Zampoli, that's his name. And no one's talking about him. No one's talking about Paolo Zampoli. But her friend was married to Paolo Zampoli, okay? Well, when she got divorced and then she got remarried, she wanted custody. She was trying to get custody from Paolo of their teenage boy. Well, guess what he did? He had her deported. She was attacked by ICE agents. Yes. Amanda Ungarro. Yes, that's her name. She was attacked by ICE agents and put in a detainment center in South Florida for 3 weeks and deported back to her home country after living here for 20 some odd years and being labeled a diplomat while she was married to him. Okay? So this is the story of Melania's dark past surfacing as her former friend outs her. And I hope this girl makes it. I hope this girl makes it. All right, here we go.
Good. Good afternoon, depending the time the news gets to you. Welcome to the broadcast. We got a story that's moving fast. Grab your remote and turn it up, because tonight's headlines are filling up. We're going live. We're going in to a story that just won't end. Buckle up. Here's what we know. Let's break it down. Nice and slow. Back in 1998, a modeling agent opened the gate. A party in Manhattan, Kit Kat Club, the name. Two people met and nothing was the same. Paolo Zampoli, agent on the scene, connecting dots and places in between. He says he made the introduction clear, a moment that would echo year to year. Now fast forward to 2026, the story's back and it's in the mix. A top array aired across the sea. Italian cameras asking what did.
Is it too fast for you guys, or do I need to slow it down? Let me know. I know we just talked about it and then it came out. And then this Lego. Yep. It's crazy. Do you want me to slow it down or no? It's great? Okay.
Did we miss? Ray rolled the footage, let the audio play, and suddenly the headlines had a lot to say. The former first lady stepped up to the mic and told the world which claim she didn't like. Break a nose. The past is knocking at the door. Break a nose. There's always just a little more. The camera's rolling, the witnesses talking. Social media posts keep walking. Into headlines, into feeds. Breaking news is all you need. April 9th, she took the stand, addressed the nation, microphone in hand. Said the photos circulating weren't real. Said the emails weren't part of the deal. Denied the ties, denied the link. Said the stories were worse than you think. Called the claims a collection of lies. Looked directly into the camera's eyes. Meanwhile, in a custody dispute, a woman named Amanda took a different route. Former friend, former social circle member, posting words the internet would remember. 20 years of watching, she declared, of seeing things that left her unprepared. She took the social media to speak her mind and left a string of allegations behind. Now here's where the anchors stop and say, let's separate what's proven from what's hearsay. The people in this story, they are real. Their relationships documented, the history revealed, but allegations near a custody court are different from the facts of a confirming report. So we present the story as it stands, with question marks still written in our hands. Zampoli offered testimony under oath. The Italian doc got coverage on both coasts. New York Times and Reuters picked it up. Mother Jones and Daily Beast filled the cup. El País reported from across the pond, and NPR noted just how deep the bond between the players in this long-running tale that keeps resurfacing without fail. A YouTube channel ran the story loud, with partisan framing drawn in the crowd. Mad as Touch put the clips up on the screen, narrated every detail in between. Now that's the nature of the media age. Every story gets a different stage. One side sees a scandal, one side sees a spin. Depends on which channel you're tuning in. And somewhere in a Lego animation frame, a brick-built version of the whole thing came to life in color, block by block, displayed the way the internet takes news and plays with Jory Kellage. Format, art, and style, making complicated stories worth your while. So that's the story as the evening ends. Of modeling agents, former friends. Of press conferences and Italian air. Of documents and questions left out there. The witnesses are speaking, the cameras stay, the headlines keep on coming every day. We'll be back tomorrow with the latest update. Until then, this is your news. Good night. Stay Greg. All claims references are based on publicly reported media coverage. This parody does not assert the truth of any unverified allegations.
I am so here for these. What's this one? Melania smacks Trump's hand while King Charles destroys him at dinner.
Good evening. Welcome to the broadcast. We are breaking news, and it's coming in fast. Tonight at the White House, a dinner took place. King Charles flew in from the UK with grace. The cameras were rolling, the world tuned in tight. And what happened next made headlines tonight. Now let's go to our correspondent on the ground. She says she witnessed something quite profound. The president reached out, extended his hand. Melania pulled back, did not follow the plan. The clip went viral across every screen. One of the most talked about moments we've seen. Our analysts say it's open to debate. Was it intentional or just running late? No official statement has come from the White House. No press release, no comment, no blouse. We are reporting what viewers could see. The interprets basically lame up to the running language experts away in.
Hold on. This is breaking. If this is live, we have Epstein accountant breaking silence on Melania Trump connection under oath. Is this a real news station, you guys? No, she really was deported. Amanda was deported.
The QuickBooks file has.
Is this?
Every
Is
transaction
AP?
recorded.
Is this?
So it was in the QuickBooks file, but it was just not an area that I worked on.
He has? I did not
With
know
Epstein's
this.
personal QuickBooks file, the 2 or 3 things that I was focused on was picking up any income or deductions that would relate to his personal tax return. And
I did
picking
not
up
know
his
this.
gifts that would need to be reported
Do
on
it
separate
live.
gift tax
I'll
returns.
write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
This says it's live. I mean, they have almost a
Is it
million
possible
subscribers.
that some of the cash used by Mr. Epstein was for some sort of deductible reason?
Deductible? No. The petty cash, again, the assistants, if they went to a store and bought him a sweater, that's not deductible. If they bought groceries for his home, that's not deductible. If the pilots were traveling, none of his aviation was ever, we never took business expenses on any of his aircraft, so that was not deductible. HBRK's office expense, that could be a potentially deductible expense at our level, but not for Epstein. It was all related to personal items, so I don't believe that anything relating to petty cash was deductible or relatable to his personal tax return.
Would he not use petty cash as a way of providing a gift to someone?
Well, thank you. That's a good point. Yes, if he gave cash to someone, thank you for the clarification. If he gave cash to someone and we didn't know what it was for, he may give cash to someone and say rent. If he was paying that individual's rent, it would go into gift tax reporting. If he gave petty cash to an individual and said reimbursement for a sweater you bought for Epstein,
Yeah,
that
it's
would
not
go
the
on
Associated
Epstein's
Press.
personal
It's
stuff.
APT.
But thank you for the correction. Yes, if a gift was given in cash, it would go on his gift tax reporting.
Hold on, I'm looking this up right now.
So, because any gifts provided by Mr. Epstein in the form of cash or cash compensation, you would need to know what the use for that cash was, ultimately.
This is
correct?
old.
No, if we had proper coding Again, if it was for
I
a
believe
woman's
this is
rent,
old.
if it was for buying a sweater for a woman, if it was meals, if he was paying.
This came out a month ago. A month ago. But what I was looking for was the interview with Amanda Ungarro's latest interview, and it says there's a translated interview. I just don't know if we can trust it. A courier interview. Have you guys heard of this? I just don't know if it's real. It says it's translated from Portuguese. Hold on. It says translated from Portuguese. But I don't think it's real. I don't know. You guys can tell me. I'll pull it up. I don't know if she actually did
This
one.
is the full translated interview referenced in my last video. I've added English subtitles so you can watch it unedited.
Quando eu cheguei no avião, tinha mais ou menos quase 30 meninas no avião. Aí eu achei uma coisa muito estranha.
Do you guys think this is real? It says O Globo. See, I don't know if she ever did an interview, so I'm not sure. Let me see. Let's see. God, there's no news reporting on this, like major news. Instagram, Newsweek. Okay, here's a Newsweek article. The former partner of a modeling agent and longtime ally of Donald Trump is recalling her brief interaction with Epstein on his private jet packed with teenage girls. Amanda Ungarro, a 41-year-old former model from Brazil, said she flew in on the late sex offender's so-called Lolita Express from Paris to New York in 2002. My agent told me we're going with a couple of friends, a private plane just for us. Yep, the O Globo. Yes, this is real. There were around 30 young women there. Okay, this is a real interview. This is a real interview. And this was done back in March. Yep. It was in March. So O Globo did an interview with her, and this is what she said, I guess. And it's on the screen too. I'll stop and read.
Tinha mais ou menos quase 30 meninas no avião. Aí eu achei uma coisa muito estranha. As meninas eram mais parecidas com meninas estudantes do que modelos. Bem novinhas, mais ou menos entre 15 e 16 anos, 14. Quando a gente entrou no avião, nós fomos os últimos a entrar e estavam todas as meninas lá. E eu fiquei meio assustada quando vi todas as meninas. Eu falei, gente, que é isso? Onde que eu tô?
Wow. Okay, I'll just read it. The girls looked more like students than models. Very young, around 14 to 16 years old. When we boarded, we were the last to get on. All the girls were already there, and I felt a bit scared when I saw them. I thought, what is this? Where am I? Then he said, don't worry. Let me introduce you to Jeffrey Epstein. Then Jeff came over and said, hi, how are you? My name is Jeff. What's your name? How old are you? Where are you from? And that was the end of my interaction with him.
E acabou.
I saw them interacting with the girls, like girls sitting on his lap.
Eu vi eles interagindo com as meninas, tipo, as meninas sentadas no colo do Jeffrey Epstein. Mas depois disso...
But after that, during the flight, I didn't interact with anyone else.
Durante o voo, eu não interagi mais com ninguém, entendeu? Eles foram para parte do voo, eu não interagi mais com ninguém, entendeu? Eles foram para
They went to the back of the plane, and I stayed there with Jean-Luc Brunel.
a parte do fundo do avião e eu fiquei ali com o Jean-Luc Brunel. Parecia que a
It seemed like Ghislaine was very comfortable with the girls.
Ghislaine ela era muito à vontade com as meninas, assim.
Like she knew them.
Conhecia as meninas, sabe?
Então ela tinha...
Não parecia que era tipo, a gente se conhecia
It didn't feel like we had just met for the first time on that plane.
a primeira vez hoje aqui dentro do avião. Eu falei assim, da onde que são todas essas meninas? Tipo,
I asked, where are all these girls from?
Quem é esse cara? Não, é só um amigo
Like, who is this guy? No, he's just a friend of mine. They're models.
meu. Não, elas são modelos. Eu falei assim, não tem nenhuma com cara de modelo aqui.
I said, none of them look like models, but he didn't say much and I just kept to myself.
Então, mas ele não falou muito e eu também fiquei na minha, porque eu era muito tímida com 16
Because I was very shy at 16.
anos, entendeu? Eu acho que eu e o Jean-Luc foi um dos primeiros a sair do avião.
I think Jean-Luc and I were among the first to get off the plane.
Então, quando a gente pousou em New Jersey,
When we landed in New Jersey, I was sitting here and he was in front of me.
eu estava sentada aqui, ele na minha frente, daí o Jean-Luc pega e fala assim, jogou uma bolinha que estava
Then Jean-Luc threw me a small ball wrapped in plastic.
enrolada num plástico, que não dava para ver o que era. Ele falou,
You couldn't see what it was. He said, put it in your bag.
coloca dentro da sua bolsa. Daí eu olhei aquilo e falei, mas o que é isso? Daí ele falou assim,
I looked at it and I said, what is this? He said, put it in your bag now.
só coloca dentro da sua bolsa. Daí eu joguei de volta. Eu falei, eu não sei o que é. Entendeu? Daí ele jogou de volta, ele coloca dentro da sua bolsa agora. Eu falei assim, eu não vou colocar uma coisa que eu não sei.
I said, I'm not putting something in my bag if I don't know what it is.
Daí já na hora eu consegui entender mais ou menos que era drogas. Eu falei, de jeito nenhum, na minha bolsa não.
And then I realized it was probably drugs. I said, no way, not in my bag.
Ele ficou super bravo comigo, virou a cara e
He got really angry with me. He turned away and put the package away.
pegou e guardou o pacote.
If you want the full context around this, including how this connects back to Melania and the wider timeline, I've broken that down in a separate video on the channel.
Foi a minha primeira vez chegando em Nova York. Eu não lembro realmente da reação das
It was my first time in New York. I just wanted to get off the plane.
meninas. O que eu queria era só sair do avião, porque eu não estava me sentindo à vontade ali.
Because it didn't feel right.
Eu sabia que tinha alguma coisa estranha, mas também não sabia o que era,
I knew something was strange, but I didn't know what it was.
entendeu? Nem se passava na minha cabeça
I had never heard of Epstein.
naquela época. Nunca vi o Epstein no escritório em Nova York. A única conexão que eu tive depois, assim, que foi com a Ghislaine Maxwell.
The only connection later was with Ghislaine Maxwell. It was at the United Nations when I was working there.
Tive depois, assim, que foi com a Ghislaine Maxwell, que foi nas Nações Unidas quando eu trabalhava, e o Paulo tinha essa organização que chamava The Oceans.
That was the only time. As for Jeffrey Epstein, Paulo never mentioned his name in front of me. I had never seen or heard of him.
Nome na minha frente, nunca ouvi falar na agência.
If you want the full breakdown, including how this connects back to
Let's see what this says. Yeah, this was actually from O Globo. There's the reporter, the cameraman, and all of that. No, Colette, it's not AI. I thought it was at first, but I looked, and yeah, it's not. It's not. So what do you guys think? Are you interested in covering more stuff like this as things are going on? I think that it's important. I think it's important, you know, these things. And the fact that she's got a teenage son here that she can't see. It's horrible. Paulo started chasing Amanda when she was 16, 17. Yeah, yes, it's gross. It's really gross. So let's end our poll for Lynette. I forgot to end that. Hold on. You guys are amazing. I love that you're interested in this stuff. Because I am too. I'm interested in justice. Justice. Did you guys see? We'll do a quick Nancy Guthrie update real quick. Did you guys see Brian Ensign last night? Do you think Lynette is on land or sea? 60% say sea. 40% say on the land. Interesting. Thanks, Felicia. Hey, TJ, what's happening? I've got one more thing to show you before we end today. Really interesting interview with Nancy Guthrie's neighbor. Brian Ensign went back out to Nancy's.
Hey guys, thanks so much for
checking. And he really, really, really appreciates you, just so you know. But he went back out there and he sat down with the neighbor, and something really weird happened. The neighbor got letters for Brian. I love that you like that I switch things up. It's kind of my ADD. But anyways, she got some letters for Brian, and I wonder if they're not from our friend James. You know? He really wanted to talk to Brian Guthrie.
I didn't come to fucking dance, okay? I came to party.
So we're going to fast forward. I just want to play this one part.
So I want you to hear my conversation with Aldine, and she'll kind of give us an update on what's been going on in the neighborhood. So Aldine, it's been now almost 3 months since I met you, since all of this began.
I love how our brains work.
What is it like in the neighborhood?
It's pretty quiet now. Everybody's gone. I think there's a couple of YouTubers that are still out there, but it's quiet. But there's a sadness. Yeah, like we all miss Nancy, for sure.
How often do you think about it?
Pretty much every day. I mean, I think about her, and hopefully they'll come to some resolution and figure out who took her and what happened. We'd love to know that, yeah.
Has there been any like updates? I mean, you live so close to her. Did they come around, and have you like spoken to the police at all?
Not really. The FBI a couple of times, as you know, but nothing, no, they don't. I see their cars, but not them on foot or anything, yeah.
The FBI has come back just to see what, and I don't know how much you want to say, but.
Yes, the FBI have been here. Brian, well, should I say?
Yeah, I mean, we've been in touch a lot because there were some letters that came to your house.
To my house.
For me.
For you, yes. So,
but it that had to do with Nancy Guthrie, but it seems like they are just people with weird ideas. I don't think it's anything significant.
He did jazz hands. Okay, so it did have to do with Nancy Guthrie, but listen.
Seems like they are just people with weird ideas.
Weird ideas.
For you.
Her dog is so freaking cute.
Oh, yes. So,
but it that had to do with Nancy Guthrie, but it seems like they are just people with weird ideas. I don't think it's anything significant to do with the case.
No.
But
it's about Nancy, though. What the heck was it? Hello, welcome back, Jen Fisher. You liked the jazz hands?
No.
And I'm sorry that had to do with Nancy Guthrie, but it seems like they are just people with weird ideas. I don't think it's anything significant to do with the case.
No.
And I'm sorry that you had to get letters. I don't know why that was happening.
That's okay. No. It was definitely interesting.
Isn't this where he parked?
And I did get to know an FBI agent because of those letters, and he's a super nice guy, and they're working really hard to try and solve the case, yes.
Yeah. What are the other neighbors saying?
Another thing that I want to point out is, remember how Nancy's door was propped open? Look at her door, wide ass open. How many times do you think Nancy sat like that outside? Probably a lot. We don't know. He just said it was weird ideas. But notice she's got her door. I mean, I know Brian's there and all that shit, but they're in her little courtyard. And another thing that bothers me is I don't like that she's showing her backyard. I would be way too scared to do that. Would you? I wouldn't want people on here to see that I prop my door open. I wouldn't want people to see where my door is or be able to see my door locks. Nor would I want them to be able to see my patio. It creeps me out. Yeah, the door's fucking propped open. No, she said she got to know the FBI agent through the letters because of dealing with the letters. And he's a really nice guy. But I also noticed that she has an alarm sticker on the window. But I would be very uncomfortable. I would not. I'd be like, nope, I'll meet you at the local cafe. But we're not filming at my house, especially where it shows I have something new sitting here in a box, that my door is propped wide open, that my door is glass. No. She showed her living room and her bathroom. Yeah, she sure did. Yeah, I'll meet you in front of Nancy's.
I think everybody's just sad. I think it's mostly sadness. And, we all would love to know what happened. And that it, hopefully will never happen again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has anything happened at the house? I mean, I just drove by. I hadn't been there in probably, a month. There's a lot of flowers. It looks like fresh flowers out there still. I mean, are people still coming by?
I think people are still coming by. Not as many, but they are definitely coming by. She had to get her cameo.
Yeah.
But it's.
Damn, I didn't think about that, Lindsay. She's working with the FBI. I wonder if she's baiting. Interesting angle. I like the way you think.
It's pretty mellow, basically. Yeah.
Are you worried about, I mean, it's just, it's been 3 months. Are you worried about it not getting solved, or do you?
Well, we think about it not getting solved, and we a little worried. Yeah, that it's a worry for all of us, for sure. Yes.
It doesn't seem like there's much, from what we know, leads at this point, but maybe someone will see some, you just hope that.
But wasn't it her sister whose home had the fake FBI's or something? Remember, she said her sister?
There's that one.
Someone just has to talk.
Yeah.
Someone knows that man in the video.
Yeah.
By the door, so someone just has to say who it is. Yeah.
Have you thought any more? Because, you were one of the people who saw something strange on January 11th from your bathroom window, the person walking down the street, right? Have you thought any more about that? I mean, has the FBI asked you any more? I think they came back after we did our interview.
They did come back after we did our interview, and we talked a lot about it. But I mean, I didn't get to see their face.
The person walking,
The person walking. So I couldn't be much help other than I noticed it. Definitely was something odd. But yeah, nothing came of it.
Do you think people are, like you and I were talking, it seems like the community is sort of in a weird place. Like they want to remember Nancy, but there's really no finality to all, you know what I mean?
Right,
it's
right.
you don't want to say she's passed away, but at the same time, people are kind of looking for a way to memorialize her in a way.
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of people that would love a memorial, but like I said, it's, of course, on the property, it's up to the family.
Yeah.
And I really respect the family and let them mourn the way that they need to mourn.
Yeah, of course.
So, yeah, but I do see.
They are showing an awful lot of her surroundings. They are literally targeting some guy that walked by with his dog. They found out his name and they're like naming him as the suspect. It's very, very stupid and dangerous, in my opinion.
That people do want something, yes.
One thing I heard, which I hadn't heard initially, was that did she at one point rent out the casita?
Yes, I heard that. And I used to see a car parked there, which I didn't think it was her car, but I didn't know at the time that she rented it out. But yes, I have heard that, yes.
Was it a regular thing, do you know? Or just...
I definitely saw that car there for months, maybe even like a year. So I don't know, honestly. I don't know if it was a regular thing for her, like, parked there.
The casita?
Yes, I heard that. And I used to see a car parked there.
I used to. How long ago? A year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. The woman's lived there for 50 years and you grew up there. When did you see the fucking car at the casita for a year? Was it the past year? Was Cameron living in the casita? Yeah, a woman said she rented it, but we never got any confirmation on that. But, I mean, Cameron was supposedly there before all this happened. Was he living there? Confused.
Which I
mean...
Yes, I heard that. And I used to see a car parked there, which I didn't think it was her car, but I didn't know at the time that she rented it out. But yes, I have heard that, yes.
Was it a regular thing, do you know? Or just...
I definitely saw that car there for months, maybe even like a year. So I don't know, honestly.
What year?
I don't know if it was a regular thing for her or not.
Do you know if she was ever going to sell the house?
You know, I had heard that quite a few years ago that she thought about it, and then it didn't happen. Like it didn't go on the market or anything. I don't think so, but I'm not positive, but yes.
One thing I've heard is that, like, the task force investigating is going back, looking for, like, every connection that people had to Nancy, like the smallest things, contractors, people who were in the house, you know, going back even maybe a decade.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just
wow.
Because statistically, you know, it's normally someone who you know in some way. It might not be someone you know, but someone who knows you. You know, even if something very, very small.
Sure.
But you just think about how long that would take. And I mean, you know the neighborhood, there's a lot of people that come in and out and contractors and when you have a house.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that's great. They probably should go back.
Yeah.
You know, years at least to find out if somebody had an issue or who knows.
Are you nervous people will just move on?
I'm not nervous that people move on. I mean, I think it's such a sad thing. I don't think anybody will ever forget. This case went, people in Europe were, you know, they all knew about it. So I don't think it's ever going to go away. I think people will always remember it and think about it, don't you think?
I think so, yeah. It's just weird. I guess coming back here, it's so much calmer now, which is a good thing. I mean, I know a lot of the neighbors, but you just hope that it doesn't get sort of just forgotten. I mean, I guess that's why I keep covering it so much.
Yeah.
And I don't want to like milk it. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like and I'm working on other stories too, but
of course.
At the same time, you don't want people to just forget about it, especially because they need the tips.
Yeah, they need the tips. And she was an 84-year-old woman. Like, it's just so tragic.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, you know, taken out of her bed. I mean, those are Savannah's words.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just so sad.
And you were telling me earlier, just remind us again, like, what her personality was like when you knew her.
Oh, she was very vivacious, very kind, very open, very nice. She was just a lovely person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you even said when we were just chatting at your kitchen, you're like, she was the kind of person who would have done that, like who would have welcomed someone in and chatted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure, for sure. And and like I said, she probably loves the different connections that have been made. I've met lots of really nice people.
Yeah.
Because of her, which I'm very grateful for.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else, Aldine?
Nothing that I can think of.
Yeah.
You cover it well.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I mean, I just. You know, I feel for you guys who live so close. It must be it's
sad.
Kind of unsettling.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's very, very sad.
Have there been more police around?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we've definitely noticed police presence. Yeah, which is a good feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's still scary because it's still an unknown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I don't think this is just random. Oh, hey, let's catch up with each other. There was letters. I feel like Gladys does.
Good seeing you again, Albie.
No, James hasn't come back. But he got letters at her house for him.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really, really appreciate Aldine for
Really, really, really appreciate it. But he talks again about these letters at the end. Okay, here we go.
What they might find. So we'll see what happens. I know they're going to try to revise their proposal. They're trying to, get into a new conversation with the sheriff's office here, the Pima County Sheriff's Office. So we'll see where it goes. I'm just walking back up towards Aldine's house from Nancy's house, just so you guys can see like the mountains here. It's really, really beautiful, as you guys know who follow me, and I've showed you the neighborhood and the scenery. It's so hot during the day. It was really, really a hot day, and then at night it cools down quite a bit. And they still have all of the parking restrictions. You can see the signs here. Remember, they put these restrictions in place so that members of the media and really anyone can't park on the street anywhere in the neighborhood. So those parking restrictions are still in place. So that's why I park up the way and then walk down. So yeah, that's really the latest. It's weird to be here and think back to just how many people were here when everything was going on. You had reporters from all over the world, and now it's really just empty for the most part. Very, very quiet, beautiful neighborhood, and still just such a mystery about what happened to Nancy Guthrie, which again is the reason that I'm here. I talked to a couple of my sources today. From what I'm being told, there's nothing new. I mean, they're obviously waiting on DNA. The hair was sent to the FBI lab, the hair that was found inside Nancy Guthrie's house. But so far, nothing significant. Still going through all of the tips. I'm working on a special, a Nancy Guthrie special, that is going to air on the CW, which I'll have more details on, not this week, but next week, next Wednesday. So I'll give you guys all the details on that, but it's gonna have new information in it and just new stuff that I've been trying to dig up. And like I said with Aldine, I'm obviously covering other stories again, and there's a lot.
Hold on, I just have to say this. This is why I don't watch that shit. This is why I don't know who Richard is. Because anybody who knows who the fucking masked man is gonna go and report it and get a fucking $1 million. They're not gonna be sitting here in someone's comment section commenting on YouTube, and only one creator. So you know what that is? It's called bullshit clickbait. I've seen it. I've seen it 1 million fucking times. There's a reason why you don't know who the fuck he is. Because the guy who knows who it is isn't going to collect the $1 million. Nope. He's going on Sleuth Intuition's channel to post in the comments. That's what he's going to do. You got to be smarter than these fucking people on YouTube that are clickbaiting you. I don't even know who he is. I don't know who he is, but they've got this guy named and all this bullshit because he commented on a YouTube channel. Don't you think he'd want the $1 million fucking bucks? Fuck is Sleuth Intuition gonna bring him? Nothing but a bunch of fucking drama. Right? That shit just pisses me off. Oh, this guy did it. This guy did it. He commented in my video. He knows who it is. I'm going to have him on my channel, and I'm going to have you guys all believing that he did it. I can't. I literally cannot. He called in twice. You think I can't get a friend to call in if I wanted to? I mean, for real? A call in? I know who it is. It's my friend, but I'm not going to collect any money. Just like T-Rev. Yeah, no. No. Clickbait. They're lying to you. They're lying to you. Unless it's him himself. What's up, Stay Humble? Anyways, let's listen about the letters. Because that actually happened.
A lot of other stories that I put on hold, things that I'm interested in, things that other people aren't covering. If you look at my episode from last week, the situation in Kentucky that I was covering before the Nancy Guthrie case happened with the sheriff who killed the judge and this whole secret alleged
And it fucks with cases. It fucks with cases. It confuses people. It confuses the masses because only one channel knows.
sex ring happening in this small town, a lot of corruption. So I'm getting back into that again, but I just can't obviously shake the Nancy Guthrie story because I still don't understand how an 84-year-old woman just vanishes and disappears out of her bed in the middle of the night. And
why is he nervous? You know what I feel like? I feel like he came back out here because there's no media there to see if whoever wanted to talk to him would come out there. Didn't you notice how he's looking around? He's not comfortable. He's uncomfortable. He's a little uncomfortable. Yeah, I don't believe anything that comes out of that YouTube channel, Scooters. He's like looking around.
Or the Nancy Guthrie case happened with the sheriff who killed the judge and this whole secret alleged sex ring happening in this small town. A lot of corruption.
Sex ring? Where did that come from? Have you guys heard about a sex ring?
Sex ring happening.
Oh, that's Kentucky, not Tucson.
In this small town. A lot of corruption.
That was Kentucky.
I'm getting back into that again, but I just can't obviously shake the Nancy Guthrie story because I still don't understand how an 84-year-old woman just vanishes and disappears out of her bed in the middle of the night, and you have the resources of the FBI and a ton of law enforcement and still nothing. It's hard to wrap your mind around, and it's one reason that I want to keep covering the case, make sure that people don't forget about it. So I appreciate you guys sorry, I know this episode's kind of been jumbled and all over the place. Appreciate you guys for watching. Appreciate you guys for subscribing, for all the support of the channel. I'll keep you posted on anything else I find here. I'll have more episodes from Arizona.
Yeah, I would be nervous. But I feel like there's more going on with these letters and the FBI.
This week, and I'll keep you guys posted on the special that I'm working on, and I'll talk to you guys later.
I thought he mentioned the letters again. Oh, maybe it was right here. Sorry.
Addressed to me. There's been letters that I've gotten at other places, which,
yeah.
It
here
happened.
It is. He plays it off. Here we go.
Oh, scary because it's still an unknown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Good
You're
seeing you
welcome.
again, Aldine. Thank you.
Yeah.
Scooter, remember Mailbox Guy?
Appreciate Aldine for taking the time to talk with me. She's a wonderful person who I've gotten to know throughout this whole thing. And you could hear it was kind of awkward when she wasn't sure whether she should talk about the letters. And they're not like a big deal in the sense of the case. I don't think they have anything to do with Nancy Guthrie's disappearance or who took Nancy. But there have just been like weird letters that she's received mailed to her house, some of them addressed to me. There's been letters that I've gotten at other places, which, it happened to me with other cases that I've covered too, with Gabby Petito, with Brian Koberger, some of these cases that people are really interested in. People will send me theories, and some of the stuff is just a little odd. So that's what Aldine received. Then she obviously called the FBI, and they have the letters. And again, it doesn't seem like it's significant at all when it comes to the investigation overall. But that's just what she was talking about in that part of the interview, in case you guys were wondering. But it's just interesting to get her perspective because she is one of Nancy Guthrie's neighbors. And for those of us following it who live all over the country, you forget what this neighborhood is still going through because they knew Nancy. So appreciate Aldine. Something else I want to talk about is the United Cajun Navy.
Weird, huh? I just think he seems a little more nervous than... I don't think he usually comes across nervous at all. Hi, hippie. No, you can't take that asshole serious. If you're going to clickbait people When there's a real 84-year-old woman missing, you're a piece of fuck. And yeah, I said it. You're a piece of fuck. If you're going to clickbait people in a missing grandmother's case. If you're that desperate for clicks and views, then you might just be a piece of shit. That's why I don't like people that do that shit. Don't like it. Kim, are you from that county in Kentucky? Yeah, it ain't real. If he knew who the fuck Porch Guy was, guess what? He'd be $1 million richer today. Sue Patrick. I don't even know who Sue Patrick is. All I know is Nancy Guthrie is missing, people. Who's Sue Patrick? The fuck is Patrick? Yeah, we don't watch that channel. You do live there, Kimmy? Oh my God. You're really close to it. Wow. Palm Beach Pete. Okay. I don't think he's Jeffrey Epstein. Lie detector? What? Okay, we're going to watch this.
All right. Well, his name is Palm Beach Pete, and we had to meet him ourselves. Pete, thank you so much for joining us. Great to meet you, at least on television. So, of course, we have to ask you, are you Jeffrey Epstein?
I am not, but thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. I'm Palm Beach Pete, living my life. I'm retired. I'm 71 years old. How many people at my age get to hang out with young kids, influencers, and really enjoy the journey? So that's what's happening in my life right now, Katie.
Yeah, so Palm Beach
It's
Pete,
out
you
of
talked
control.
about...
I would have never...
You never would have thought this would happen.
God, he does resemble him.
Right?
Correct.
So you talked about previously,
It's
you just
just
like to play tennis, you like to go around West Palm Beach, the weather's great. You just mentioned the podcasters, but how has your life changed since you became famous for maybe not the best reason?
Well, I live in Palm Beach, and I do go to West Palm and Palm Beach Beach. And my analogy is, when I went to sleep, I worried how many times I had to go to the bathroom at night. Now I worry about how many eyeballs are looking at my social media platforms. That's what's keeping me up at night, Katie.
Well, you got to make sure you get ready now every day because you're so famous. People are going around trying to get pictures of you in Palm Beach. When was the first time you remember being mistaken for him? Did this start on the internet or did this start in person somewhere?
No, it started prior. He was in the news, but he wasn't infamous like he was.
Wait a
when
minute.
He got...
Wait a minute. It's uncanny. God, what the hell?
Arrested, and he was in the newspapers, and I saw a similarity.
Thanks, Mary
and
J.
Maybe about 5-6 years ago, I was at a Rangers game, leaving the game, and an influencer filmed me, put it on his Instagram, and it blew up viral. And then there's another time, I was in the background episode of New York City Housewives, and one of the housewives kissed me, and a Generation Zer was watching it during COVID and put it up on her TikTok and said, "Why is this housewife kissing Jeffrey Epstein?" And it went viral, and TikTok had to take it down. So yes, I'm aware of it, but not to this degree, Katie.
Yeah, I mean, you're very famous now, and I love that you say, I'm Palm Beach Pete. I think it's the best. But, you know, do you fear for your safety, though? I mean, Jeffrey Epstein was a terrible, awful person, and people are, you know, derangedly comparing you to him, and some of them don't believe you. So do you fear for your safety at all?
I don't fear for my safety, but I'm aware of it. I'm a born and bred New Yorker, so I'm always aware of my situations. And mostly we love you, Palm Beach Pete, and my demographic is very interesting. It's Generation Zers. They really embrace me. Once in a while, I'll get some knuckleheads who call me Epstein. I was with my daughter the other day, and we were walking through Washington Square Park, and a mob scene came up to me, and they all wanted selfies. and actually my heart was palpitating. We had to get out of the park, and that was the only one time that I was really nervous. But mostly I'm getting in, really positive feedback. Palm Beach Pete, living my life.
Well, there is a Mrs. Pete. How is she responding to all of this?
I'm divorced.
Oh.
And I have a girlfriend, and she.
Oh, Ms.
At
Ms.
first, she
Pete.
was trepidatious. Yes, at first she was trepidatious about this whole journey, and then she saw how it was very positive, and people were really
How old's your
enjoying me and being Palm Beach Pete, so she likes it.
Well, President Trump is going to be in Palm Beach today for the RNC Spring Retreat. Do you have any plans to
God.
stop by Mar-a-Lago,
Yes.
or is he just causing traffic down there?
Well, Southern Boulevard's been closed for the whole winter season, and I live basically 2.5 miles to the south of Mar-a-Lago. I'll wave. I say hi.
You wave and say hi. Say hi to the Secret Service agents. All right. Well, Palm Beach Pete, it's great to talk to you. Stay safe, and we
you.
know that you are
Thank
doing
you.
great things and enjoy your retirement. Talk to you later.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below.
God, Cuomo. Oh my God. Ugh. I would not be flattered by that, number one. And the things he said, he's just as creepy. Ugh. He's like, young kids like to hang out with me. Like, dude, what? He's acting like that's like a flex, that you look like Epstein. Gross. He doesn't care what kind of attention he gets, as long as he gets attention, I reckon. Ugh. He has a plane? How does he own a plane? How does this guy own a plane? What does he do? That's... I don't like that at all. It almost looks like he's trying to look more like him. It is disturbing. All right, guys. I am going to wrap this one up for the afternoon. Thank you for joining me today. If you haven't hit the like button and you are a replayer, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing if you liked the hell out of this podcast. And just as a reminder, every Monday at noon, we do our weekend roundup, weekend updates live with J4J. Don't forget to subscribe to my second channel, Every Day with Jay, where we talk a little more deeper about these topics, but we also cover fun stuff as well. Peter with the keg stand. Don't do any keg stands, Peter. It's wild stuff, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. I don't know what the next one's going to be. It depends on what happens in this world. But please make sure you're subscribed and hit all the notification thingies so that you know when I schedule something, because I'm a little ADD-ish. But everybody have a great rest of your hump day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys. Yes, and laugh at yourself. Don't be a titsy baby. And smoke them if you got them, Jack. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this live stream or video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on my latest content. Want to take it a step further? Bring it all in. And join our community clickers by becoming a Patreon or a YouTube member. You'll get exclusive access to our Discord server, special channel perks, and much more. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.
Click. It's real easy, man.